Fart nuggets!
He boobs!
Hello! Good evening. Welcome back. Yes, welcome to episode 78 of the Chronicles of Nidum, presented by us here at Dice of the Beholder, streamed on the ever-accommodating heavyweight RPG. Yes, we're back. We're playing D&D, which apparently we sometimes do.
We're back and better than ever.
Yeah. Are we?
New and improved.
Don't call it a comeback.
We're not really improved though, because we're missing M, so we're new and the same.
Yes.
New and slightly worse.
Before I bring everyone else up on screen, and also to give Greg some time to get out of his scav run.
I'm out.
Alright, some time to sell the stuff that he found in his scav run on the flea market.
That might take a while.
A word about our sponsors. As always, Loki Battlemat, an award-winning UK-based TTRPG accessory creator, sponsor all of Dice of the Beholder's D&D content and quite a lot of the content on Heavyweight RPG as well. You can find, they make many books of Battlemats, little, big and giant sizes, also modular book sets that are full of amazing artwork and an awesome backdrop to any tabletop game. If you are interested in finding out more, search for Loki Battlemats on Facebook, Loke, or visit lokibattlemats.com to view their amazing artwork and shop their physical maps. Or if you prefer to play digitally, please pop over to Drive-Thru RPG and search the same. Second sponsor, as always, the wonderful people over at Blink Dog Dice, small dice maker based in Cardiff. We all have amazing examples of their work, as do most of the people in the chat, but you can find it available, as always, on their Etsy store. Search for Blink Dog Dice, which is all one word, and you can find them that way on most social media platforms as well. Please pop over and show them some love, and tell them we sent you. Not a sponsor yet, but Sirenscape provide the amazing ambience for our streams, and they can for your games as well. Please check out sirenscape.com, because as always, epic games need epic sound. Yes, Kiba, I agree. I don't know if anyone else can hear the dog barking in the background. But yeah, so
He's not excited about Sirenscape.
Here's all of the lovely people.
Ah!
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Greetings.
Greetings, friends!
So what I've got to do
Sorry.
now is remember what happened last time, because I didn't have time today to rewatch the last episode.
We
Can you not find your notes? Have
we
you checked your
absolutely decimated your automaton dragon.
Well, let's be honest.
Well, Millie decimated it in two
Millie
rounds.
did it, yeah.
No, because I had no idea where I was going after Heat Metal. Charlie came up with Shatter, which was frickin' genius.
Shatter's a pretty great spell for it as well, yeah.
Yeah, and I just followed Charlie's. Yeah, like I had the right direction.
We
but
killed
it
it
was me and Charlie.
in like a round and a half,
And Quill was also there.
and then we went back to our little place where the Bucky write-off and Natasha and everyone were hanging out.
I met my dog then. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, he's not a write-off, Charlie. He's just annoying.
He's a rip-off, babe, not a write-off.
Bastion, it's where Bastion was.
I do.
We
He might
had
be a
a
write-off.
chat there with them, and now we're getting ready to head to a party at the palace.
Party!
Hey, you've shaved your head again.
I had, well, Millie did. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've now got an orb with a dragon in it.
Yes.
That does have a name, but I won't reveal it yet because I haven't spoken to the dragon about it.
Ball.
I'm not going to call it that.
Charizard.
Well,
Carl!
I don't really need to fluff out your description.
No, that's
Anymore.
basically what happened.
That's what
That's how you do a
happened last
recap.
Cardiff Rogue. Ian,
Ian.
also known as Cardiff Rogue, is rightly pointing out that we killed the
Yes,
Inquisitor,
because
found
we
a
killed the
million gold, and
Inquisitor.
have been elected rulers of all.
We're the king of the universe.
And then,
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that bit, but it was quite...
And then we woke up.
and then Quill came out of the dream, instigated by the diary.
I had I was having a lovely dream while everyone else was killing the dragon.
Did a great job.
I was there.
Damage absorption is a great job.
I didn't get hit. I was
Oh, no.
physically present, however.
You were physically present. That's what matters.
Yeah. Anyway, we were just getting ready to leave for the party.
Let's go.
It comes just before part B, I believe.
As far as I can remember, actually, you were on your way.
We were.
Yeah,
You were in the carriage on your way to the
that's right.
second
From misery
day's-
to happiness today.
second day's festivities.
Sorry, love.
It's fine.
We're feeling chaotic today.
A little bit, apparently. Yeah.
Today?
I've been sat still a lot of today.
Yeah.
Quill is a support character. Moral support. Jesus Christ, that's fair.
Doesn't even qualify for healer girlfriend.
The only use Quill has in combat, as far as I can tell, is providing Bray's monsters with extra turns to take legendary actions after.
People to hit.
Yeah, more options. Oh, and eating up Millie's healing spell slots, that as well.
Hey, that is a useful skill.
I feel like I'm very much playing for the opposite team.
You do find yourselves then, after preparation, after Dice speaking to your new friend, Quill, after your strange experience, or the most recent experience with the Diary of Sir Kai. And
yeah, an experience I remember well, but if you wanted to refresh the stream's memory about it, that might not go amiss.
It seemed a Sir Kai much older than one you were used to was making their way through the grounds of the palace and into the catacombs, and the dream ended.
Yes.
Into a room filled with a deathly pale green light that you could not see into.
Yeah, so don't forget that again, chat. That's really embarrassing for you.
You fools. All of you.
Yeah, I expect better, to be honest.
And after Oriana's
Probably
apparently
works
very
really hard.
long,
Yeah,
apparently after Oriana's very long bath, yes, you were picked up by the carriage and found yourself moving through the city of Paras on your way to the palace.
Just to check, is Aurelia now attached to my armor?
Who?
Dragon. The dragon.
Oh. The dragon that you haven't named.
Yeah. I see.
Charizard.
Whatever.
Its name is Charizard.
Is Charizard now attached to my chest?
Yes.
It's a dragon in a ball. How could it be anything other than Charizard?
Dragon Ball.
That's,
Nice.
That's weeb shit. I don't make weeb jokes.
Shenron? I want to say? Shenron?
Chevron?
No, Shenron.
Enron?
Chevron?
Enron? The... Never
You
mind.
Where are we going with
The
that?
dragon that
Anyway.
gets summoned by the Dragon Ball, Shenron.
I woke up in the morning and my
I
stocks
don't know, I
were
don't remember that much.
Okay.
Enron, Enron.
So she's on my chest. Can I talk to her in my head, or do I have to talk to her out loud still?
As you're making your way to...
Yeah.
Did you spend the time...
Well, yes, but you haven't added it to my character sheet, so I don't know. Because we
Go
had
for it.
time, because Charlie was in the bath, so...
You're calling,
she
you're
did go
calling
for
me
a
out.
bath.
You're calling me out in front of everyone, and
He was really
Cat,
insistent about that bath, as I remember. Which is actually pretty true to life for Charlie.
And also me.
Yeah.
And Greg.
Yeah.
I like a bath. I don't insist on them the way that you do.
Oh, I fully insist on a bath. Mostly if I'm cold as well, I'll go and sit in the bath for hours so that I heat from the inside when I come out.
Yeah, I always have the same experience when if I go for a bath later in the day, I always have the same experience where I put my feet in the bath and I think, oh no, I've made this far too hot, and then I remember I just have bad circulation, and
Yep.
that feeling is blood entering my toes for the first time that day.
And it hurts!
Yeah, it's unpleasant.
Yeah, you've got to sit down quite quickly.
I've also had my toes go completely white when I've dipped them in the bath because all the blood goes, Jesus Christ, and runs away from the heat.
I assumed it was because you were having milk baths like the bougie bitch that you are.
I think I put in the chat quite clearly that they creep me out because it looks like you're bathing in spunk.
I mean, yeah, but don't we all love a little spunk bath every now and then?
Anyway,
I'm waiting for Bri to add this to my character sheet. I'm not being deliberately awkward.
Refresh
I
your
am.
character sheet.
Greg's being deliberately awkward. I'm just joining in.
I'm not being. I went to go and get my dice tray.
Ah, I see.
You're right
if
at
I
the
didn't
party
get
now,
it-
Reaper.
If
No,
I didn't
I
get
need
it
to
out,
speak to the freaking dragon.
someone would imply that I already should have had my dice tray out.
You will see Docent on there. I haven't properly homebrewed
Docent.
it yet, but
It's fine, we'll sort it out later. That's fine.
God, you just can't get the DMs these days.
So I would like to speak to her in my head then,
okay.
and just say, I had an idea for a name for you, if you were interested.
After a moment, you can feel quiet consideration. Slightly apprehensive, you hear the name.
Well, someone suggested Carl, which I thought was inappropriate, but
Dragony McDragonface.
what about the name Aurelia? It comes from an ancient language for the word Oros, which meant gold. If you don't like it, I'm happy to think again. I just thought it was...
I remember the word.
I thought you would.
It pleases me.
Good.
It would have been such a dick move after you clearly already discussed it if Bri had been like, I hate that name, it's shit.
Yeah, I know. It would have been very offensive. Okay, I'm just going to go silent. No, fuck that. I want to be called Chardonnay.
Chardonnay the dragon!
My name's Chardonnay.
Give her a fucking Essex accent, do it. Do it, you coward.
Go. Okay, carry on, go.
Bri talks for her. I'm sure Bri can do
So-
an Essex accent.
As the rest of the journey progresses, then, and you wind your way through the busy streets of Paras, considering it's dark, it is very busy, even in the richer areas as you get closer and closer to the palace. And you start to see celebrations spilling out of most of the restaurants, the taverns that you pass on your way through. They are becoming much rowdier than you would normally expect of these kind of upmarket establishments. Everyone roll me a perception check.
Oh, first roll on my dispel dice.
It's not bad.
Perception. I
Alright,
will
I'm
roll
gonna give the
twice.
benefit of the doubt.
I rolled a 15. And Ace, I'm not even going to open Ace's character sheet in order to tell you that's not going to do it. It's a 2 on the die. So
Okay.
I got
Plus-
6.
plus whatever Ace adds to perception.
Okay.
17.
Quill and Dice, then. As you are staring out of the carriage doors, you notice that not just serving the patrons, there appear to be a lot more humans drinking in these establishments than you would have thought normal. Especially considering you hadn't really seen any humans in these areas while you were walking through them on previous nights.
Isn't that? Didn't we know that was going to happen because of the festivities?
No, it was a previous festival that celebrated humans. That was like an occasion thing, but this isn't a normal thing, I don't think.
I thought that we semi-expected. Oh Jesus Christ! Sorry, I just looked at Ace's hit points. I don't know if Ace. I don't know if Ace has had a short rest.
I will
Fucking need one.
I will give Ace a short rest.
Thank you. Could you roll some hit dice, please?
Yeah.
What's Ace's current hit points? I really need to know.
40 out of
40.
100.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Damn.
Yeah. Not great.
That's,
Wants to go out.
it's not 3.
It's not 3. It's 40. You know.
Hey, there goes your bump. And your wife.
Bump. Ah.
There you go.
It's got
Savior of
13 in
analysis.
it.
As you continue on then, you also notice, and again, this is strange to your eyes, considering the mood that you were introduced to when you first arrived in Paras. You notice that a lot of these humans are drinking with elves.
Ugh.
They appear to be partying together.
Revolting. I'm outraged.
Quill,
How did we-
you rolled a 16?
15.
15. Dice, you rolled a 17.
Yes.
Dice.
Yes.
On one of these humans' jackets, as you move past and he raises his arms in the air, and you believe you can just, through the hubbub, hear your names being cheered. You see his jacket move to one side, and on his breast,
It's a mockingjay.
it's a very familiar symbol. In the same kind of vein as the mockingjay, you see the star previously painted by, I believe, you, and
Yep.
sprayed on walls in the human slum area. Before the carriage rounds a corner and you died, you lose sight.
I start slapping Quill and Oriana like this. Guys!
Yes.
Yeah.
It's quite painful. Her hands are covered in metal.
No, I'm not hard. I'm not trying to beat up my friends.
Oh, you are hard. You're covered in metal.
Because I've pulled it back. Like, it's living mess. Anyway, whatever.
Clang,
I'm like,
clang, clang, clang.
look! He's wearing the symbol that we painted to begin the rebellion. Look!
The mockingjay?
No. What the fuck's a mockingjay?
It's a bird.
I think it might be spreading. Maybe that will help with the other thing we discussed.
Well, that's what we hoped.
I remember all of our discussions happening recently, as they have.
One that we had with
But a few hours ago.
Natasha.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, there you go.
That's a Shah from earlier.
Jesus.
Last night, in fact.
No, same night.
Same night.
Nope. Conversation
Yeah.
with Conversation with Nathasha and Bastion
right.
and Seven was the night before the automaton battle.
Then there was the dragon.
Oh, that's right.
Then, yeah. Yep.
It's like the master of this universe. He knows everything. It's almost like he controls it with his little puppet.
Mind power.
Why can't I focus?
But yes,
You'll get there.
eventually the carriage does grind to a halt. You cannot see the palace out of the doors, but as you duck to one side and look out, you can see that you appear to be at least the last in a long line of carriages that are pulling up, this time to the front of the palace walls.
Ooh!
Ever so slowly, the minutes tick by, until eventually your carriage makes its way to the front gate. There are no carriages behind you, and you can see the lines, lined on each side of the path leading in through the front gates are no Inquisitors, just the Prince's Guard. And as the carriage door opens, one of the Prince's Guard steps forward, takes off his helm, and reveals the Prince himself. Bonjour, monsieur and mademoiselles. It is a pleasure
Bonjour.
to welcome you to my family home. I decided it would be fun for me to welcome at least some of my guests. So please, follow.
Right. I am very sorry to have to ask this. Who's talking to us?
The Prince.
It is the
We-
prince.
we
We know.
were-
You didn't say.
We've been. Oh, you might have said, but we've been memeing in the chat. I'm sorry, man.
Very sorry.
I didn't hear. Sorry.
I knew there was a French guy talking to us.
One of
Right,
the guards steps forward, takes off his helm, and reveals the Prince.
I see.
Right,
You
I
didn't
didn't hear
hear
that
any of
bit.
those
I
words.
just heard one of the
I
just
heard-
heard one of the guards steps forward and takes off their helm. I didn't hear the
Okay.
prince bit. I don't know if it cut out
Okay.
or.
This one was Millie's fault. She started the Wonder Boy lyrics in the chat, and I can't be blamed for this.
Thank you for greeting us. It's incredibly kind.
That's telekinesis, Kyle.
Please, the rest of the guests have already congregated in the main hall.
May I say, Your Majesty, that that helmet suits you remarkably well.
It is. I find it a little small. Fortunately, my hair is unmanageable at the best of times, so a helmet does not do it any worse, any harm.
Yep. In the interests of staying in the good graces of the only powerful elf who has shown us any kindness, I won't suggest anything about royal heads that may make a helmet uncomfortably small.
Gonna keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself.
He takes you in then, through the gates. Walking, and you can see his manner is very deferential towards you as he points out gardens you have not yet seen. You are now on the other side of the Crystal Palace spire. So instead of on what was the left side of the building, to where you were situated last time you were in these grounds, you would have seen the entrance of the catacombs from the outside. That would now be around to your right and is completely out of sight.
So we can't see anyone going in or out of there or anything.
It's quite far away. There are a lot of very heavily manicured and landscaped gardens, hedges, trees in the way. However, each tree is lit beautifully, again, by the fairy lights that you now know exactly how they are powered. And there is a long line. Well, not so much a line, but you can see where the other guests now, some of which are dawdling as they take in the gardens, perhaps for the first time. But you can see them all gently making their way towards the front steps, which sweep up perhaps a story high into the front doors of the palace. The prince points out some feature or another and smiles, and you can see... Roll me an insight check, in fact.
I can't. I've lost my D20 in the last 2 minutes.
Garbage.
120. 22.
Insight
Neither of mine cleared a 10. I'm not even interested.
Okay.
11. Oriana's the only one paying attention.
Okay. Oriana, then, as you take in the prince's demeanour and the look in his eyes as he's pointing out the gardens to you, you can tell really that the features he's pointing at, he's almost asking for your approval. You believe perhaps that the little features that he's plucking out are tiny and inconsequential, but maybe they were the ones that he chose. Perhaps this is an interest that he has outside of his royal administrative duties, is perhaps landscape gardening. But he also looks, you'd say, guilty or embarrassed as he's trying to distract you from how ostentatious and how rich most of the surroundings are, so he can divert your eye to a beautifully carved, very simple bench, or a water feature, or a bird feeder. Something cheap, but that had a lot of love that went into his construction, less money. He's almost embarrassed of the riches around him. And as he eventually then gets to the front gate, you can see a captain of the guard catches his eye and stalks down the steps towards him, looking slightly flustered, frustrated, But as you get closer, or the prince gets closer to him, it looks like a very practiced frustration, as if he has felt this way for this exact same reason many, many times. Your Grace, you have taken leave of your quarters again without telling any of your guard or your personal bodyguards.
Excuse me, sir. I think it is very rude to address someone in such a high station so rudely. Surely it is his choice which guests he chooses to greet, no?
I will speak.
I'm sure they only have the princess's well-being on their mind.
I always have the prince's well-being on my mind. And I will speak to His Grace, His Highness, with as much respect and deference as he gives to my station as the person who is in charge of his well-being and his life.
I'm only teasing, I promise. I apologize. I did not mean to come across as grumpy.
No, you are right to question. However, it is also my right to berate him.
Is this Parasian custom that the servant class are allowed to select how much respect they give to their employers?
I suspect it is personal custom between the prince and his staff, no?
Possibly. The prince is a very magnanimous gentleman.
Oui, mes amis.
I suspect his employees are a little accustomed. I think they might have difficulty finding employment in any other house.
It's familiarity.
Oui, mes amis. This is Captain Rousseau. He was my master at arms when I was but a child. He has taught me swordplay and fighting and a great many other things. He was ancient and grey when I was but a baby, and he has been a thorn in my side ever since. But
I like him.
It's a pleasure to meet you, and I'll offer my hand out to him.
the captain takes your hand, makes to kiss it, but just kind of nods instead of actually touching it, and then releases it as quickly. It is a pleasure to make all of your acquaintance.
The pleasure is all ours.
Your Grace, please, you have other duties to attend to. If you will see to your there are more demanding guests, and you can see his eyes, and as you follow them, you can see they settle on two Inquisitorial guards standing just inside the doors.
That's me and Oriana.
I will show your most esteemed guests to their seats. Please.
I think we're among the least esteemed.
We are the bottom of the esteemed list.
The prince
Speak for yourselves.
nods to you in apology. He takes his leave, and you can see him.
Pat him on the arm as he goes.
I was going to say, pat him.
Instead of making his way straight into the main welcome hall of the palace, he touches a section of wall between two guards stationed there. A door opens very quickly in what you thought was solid stone, and in a moment he has disappeared, and the wall is completely flush once more.
You know,
The prince
when I was a kid,
should...
I look at Quill and look at that bit of the wall and then back at Quill.
The prince very possibly should have waited until you had left, so that he did not give up any secrets of the palace. Please disregard anything you have seen here and do not use it.
I'm like very closely inspecting a sconce on the wall. I'm like, what secrets? Sorry, I was very engaged by this lovely card. What's this called?
So when I go, it's you can see the filigree on this side, beautiful. What a fantastic architecture.
To see the little fig leaves carved into that's a lovely detail. I don't
The
know.
relief, the sort of the green man look about it, very.
Yeah. Almost druidic.
You do not perhaps have to lay it on so thick.
You do not perhaps have to hide your sense of humor so well.
You reckon this guy's got a sense of humor?
Sure. If the prince likes him, I can only assume he must.
Please, if you will follow me. The prince has asked that you are shown to your seats as quickly as possible, so as not to
Get arrested?
So as not to discomfort any of the other guests.
Show the way, Captain.
And he
Capitan.
stalks through the welcome hall. Inside the welcome hall, you can see there are quite a few people paying no attention whatsoever to the decoration around them. But you can see there are others who this may very well be the first time they've ever been invited inside. They all look quite affluent, most standing around you look incredibly rich. You can see by the jewels just dripping from them that this is probably a very high society social occasion that they have bought their way into. Gripping tightly to their father's hand, but then upon catching your eye, Dice, you do see a young elven girl, and she immediately then feels much more comforted, lets go of her father's hand, and waves emphatically at you.
I wave back with great enthusiasm and no decorum. And I'm wearing the very fancy dress this time. Remember, me and Oriana and Quill are all wearing our new clothes, and Ace, of course.
Yeah, we're all dressed up now.
Super dressed up for the first time ever.
Also, apparently, I've managed to sneak my staff in.
Yeah.
You already know.
Also, I would like to, as we're walking across the room, even though I'm wearing this beautiful dress and probably inappropriate shoes, I would like to attempt to imitate the captain of the guard's walk, who said he's stalking through the room. I would also like to follow him, doing the same thing. For no reason, other than that it makes me smile, and I don't like high society.
Roll me a performance check.
Thank you, I will.
High society.
Nice, 18.
18.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
That's going to be one of my best rolls tonight, and I've used it for this.
Would you like to imitate it perfectly, or would you like to institute a funny walks?
Hammer it up.
I would like to exaggerate it slightly, not to the point of taking the piss and it being too over the top, but just if anyone was paying close attention, they would see that it's the same walk, but with slight exaggerations in each step.
Okay. The attention being drawn by you as you are stalked through the welcome hall is only exacerbated by the fact that you do then, after a moment, begin to keep perfect step with the captain. It only then means that you
look like the aristocrats walking after the goose.
But
correct
yes,
accent.
Everyone does. You see a couple of people begin to smile and snicker behind the captain's back. The young elven girl is just quite plainly, without trying to hide it, laughing and holding her belly.
I didn't even know they had Snickers at this time.
Yeah, finding you hilarious.
What's her name, Rich? The young elven girl.
I cannot remember.
No, me neither. Kat, Ian, you're a genius. You remember everything. What the hell's the little girl called? Help us, it's been weeks.
Did I say Claudette?
No.
John. It's John.
It's not John.
Cosette?
Anyway, it'll come to us. Someone will remember.
Claudia?
But yes, I sort of...
Josette.
I keep an eye on the little girl, and I will smile at her as I'm doing this.
Okay.
Cosette. It's not Cosette. No.
What's the name of the little girl from the Vampire Diaries? Did you name her after the little girl from
Claudia.
the Vampire
That's Claudia. That's why, but
Diaries?
it's not right. Anyway, we'll find it. Don't worry.
I'll
It's
go look.
Yeah. I will just follow and smile, and if anyone...
Well, I'm with you, boys.
Do I see anyone looking really disapproving? There is a purpose to this. I'm not just doing it for my own entertainment entirely. Is anyone looking really disapproving and offended by what I'm doing?
The welcome hall is completely surrounded. In this hall, from what you can see at the moment, there are a large group of Dragonborn, very familiar to you. A lot of them look quite beaten up, quite bruised. But they also look already, even though the dinner has not started, quite drunk. They seem to have survived the arena so far and have made their way at least to this stage. There are also elves of high society surrounding the area. There are a few tabaxi merchants, none entirely familiar to you, Quill. Not a relation, but as you walk past and make eye contact, they kind of nod to you somberly and don't really say anything.
Cool.
You also then notice that surrounding the hall, the welcome hall, are guards. Now the palace guard, the prince's guard, to a man, appear to be hiding smiles. You can see them clocking you, following their captain, and mocking him good-naturedly in a very subtle way. But, they all clock you, and they're all quite... and trying to look away so they don't burst out laughing. There are quite a few. For every 2 palace guards, or prince's guard, there is an Inquisitorial guard as well.
I bet they look really amused.
They do not look amused at all.
Aww.
And each one of them is making no attempt to look away from you either. Each one of them, from every corner of the hall, is just locked eyes on you guys and is just following you through the room.
If I've noticed this, which since I asked I assume I have, I'd like to try and make eye contact with as many of them as possible. Just look at them as I go around, but still with a smile on my face. Very much, you don't scare me, fuck you. But with my eyeballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like it.
They don't appear to react to the look you give them.
I don't care.
But eventually you are taken through 2 large wooden doors that in this room is maybe 100 feet from floor to ceiling. It is a huge cavernous room of marble with obsidian pillars holding up what appears to be the next floor. The large wooden doors are about 3 stories tall, but as the guard touches them, they open almost under their own power. And you are taken into impossibly a larger room. Beautifully appointed, huge glass windows, maybe 4 or 5 stories tall, completely cover the wall opposite you, looking out onto what you think would probably be the garden you were in the previous evening. Okay. In the middle of the room is a huge table. It takes you a moment, though, to notice that it's a table because it is so twisted and misshapen. There's no uniformity to its edge. It is only then as the guard captain takes you around the table and you start to notice subtle details, little ripples in the surface of the table, that you realize it is not any normal table. It is a map of the Empire.
Ooh.
It is a huge wooden topographical map of the Empire.
As we walk around it, I would like to try and remember... I know I have a book of maps, but I would like to try and take notice of as much of it as humanly possible. So the book actually shows me what's there rather than what it thinks is there.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm aiming for.
He takes you all the way then around to the complete opposite end of the table. And you can see there is a small section of table that's almost completely severed from the main body of the table itself. But as you get closer, you notice that there is some kind of clear resin has been poured to create what looks like a river or a channel between two bodies of land. And the head of the table then, one of the largest sections, you look down, and from what you've seen from previous maps and from the book in your possession, it looks like Albion and Cimria and Peckland to the north. You see there at the head of Albion is what appears to be the prince's chair. There are then 4 chairs laid out next to it, on the left, and a few then on the right, surrounding the entire empire. The captain of the guard stands then by the prince's chair, presents the ones on the left to the 4 of you. The prince, in his wisdom, has requested that you are seated near him this evening. He has quite obviously given your party his backing and believes you to be the eventual victors of the arena. I only hope that his confidence is well placed. No?
I hope so too.
But please, make yourselves comfortable. The dinner, I believe, will begin soon.
Thank you very much
Captain.
for your hospitality.
And he leaves you at the table. You can see now in the room there is no one else. There are a few other humans in servants' clothing. Very, very expensive, well-made servants' clothing, but quite obviously a servant's uniform. And they are preparing drinks in what appear to be like crystal goblets on a table off in one corner. You can hear the sounds of the kitchen very faintly coming from like behind and below you. But for this moment, apart from the other servants in the room, you are, for all intents and purposes, alone. Is there anything you would like to do or say before?
Are there any of the fairy lights in this room?
From what you can see, the fairy lights are not in this room, but they do appear to be like floating around the tops of the windows, just outside the glass.
How high is that?
Oh,
If I stood in a window looking out, how high above me are they?
Oh, the windows are about 4 stories tall.
Right. So I'm not getting up to one of them without flying.
No.
I tell you what, though, that would cause a heck of a spectacle. I like that idea.
It's not happening.
You get shot down, probably, but
She'll get up again.
So the only people in the room with us are the servants.
At this moment, the only people in the room with you, and they're quite far away because this room is huge. So
Yeah.
the nearest servant to you is maybe 60 feet away.
Did I miss why we're in this separate room? Sorry.
This is the dining room. You have been taken into it early, so as not to be left to your own devices in a room full of people who may or may not think of
Wanna
you
kill us?
kindly.
Weird.
Is there like artwork and stuff on the walls, I'm guessing?
On 3 of the walls, yes. Like one of the main walls behind you now is dominated by the windows. The art is apparent that, you know, the only thing you're supposed to care about in this room really is the view of the gardens outside. And even now in the nighttime with darkness having fallen, because of the amount of fairy lights that are out there, the landscape is beautiful. On the rest of the walls, though, there just appear to be large, or huge, impossibly huge tapestries painted with incredibly detailed landscapes of like far-off lands. And they're almost floor to ceiling. They are huge, massive pieces of art.
I'll head over to the windows then to look outside and see if I can spot anything interesting happening outside.
Okay.
Let me look at the view.
Anyone else?
I'll make a comment about feeling a bit parched.
What should I do? I think I'm going to adopt a very insolent posture. Sort of chair tilted all the way back, both feet up on the table. I might even take my boots off and have my full cat paws up on the table. That's
Got my back to you, so I'm going to act like I haven't seen you do that.
I'll Quill, why?
I just wanted to be comfortable.
Okay.
Check the dog.
He's in here, babe. She's taken her headset off already. He's right here. He's fine. He's sat right next to me. He's eating a block of wood.
Have you
A block of wood he's supposed to eat. It's fine.
Have you given our two dogs their treats, Mel?
I haven't given your dogs any treats.
I didn't know you bought any. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, they're in the kitchen.
Oh, well, I can go and do that. Where in the kitchen are they? Sorry.
On the top.
Huh. I'll be back.
On the top of the kitchen. That's just us now, bro.
Yeah.
How do you think this session's going so far?
Good.
Yeah?
Now you're in.
Staying on track well, aren't we?
Now you're here.
Yeah. I feel like we're doing a really good job of sticking to the task, paying attention to the narration, all of that stuff. We definitely didn't miss any important details.
I think chat would be very worried about us if there wasn't this kind of chaos after so long away.
I do feel a little sorry that I'm being so extra chaotic today. I really didn't set out to do it. I just, I got the devil in me today.
It's fine. You spent 6 hours being nice, doing nothing but talking about babies.
That's right. I don't feel like I can. I don't feel like I can disrupt the NCT course that everyone paid for. Like it's not super cheap, that antenatal course. Mm-hmm. They paid to be there, so I don't feel like I can be my usual disruptive self. So I.
Whereas this doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah, and and you guys.
Just
you guys
my
are my
time.
You guys are my best friends, and you have to love me regardless of what a pain in the arse I am.
We have to. And we do.
Stop talking about them, bro. They're back.
Okay.
We had to talk about the antenatal. Sorry, I could see him walking back and forth on your camera, so I just took him out, and he's done a massive wee in the garden, so before he pisses in the house again.
Did you do one as well while you were down there? Don't forget, you've got only a little bladder now.
I've only got a little bladder now. No, I'm alright at the moment.
My dogs have been given their treats. We can carry on now.
Brian and I just had a little check-in session. Discussed how we felt like the session was going.
That's great. Let's carry on.
Almost at the moment, Oriana, that you say that you're feeling a bit parched as you walk up to the window, you hear the scrape of crystal against a marble tabletop. Faintly, and you hear the soft footfalls of a human servant as they make their way from 60 feet away from you, having heard you, bringing you a drink.
I make eye contact with them. I say, thank you.
Madame, what would you like to drink?
I'm so confused by the context of this.
Something sweet. Surprise me.
Wine or fruit?
Fruit.
She takes out a very small metal rod and rings it once against the side of the crystal glass. Almost immediately, the water that you see filling it suddenly becomes cloudy and begins to swirl with rich oranges and yellows until eventually it kind of settles and looks like a sunset. And she hands the glass to you and kind of nods and just kind of goes away.
I need one of those rods.
I have a trick.
Just in general, I need one in my life.
You take a sip.
You feel like you need a rod in your life.
I'm quite happy with no rods.
I can understand that after Bryce was removed.
Greg.
When you take a sip, how do I describe? It's like the outer shell of a Solero.
It's fruit punch.
Yeah, basically.
It's a tropical fruit punch.
Soleros now exist in my world.
Fantasy Soleros.
Yeah, and now exist in my world. It's canon. They're real.
Listen, if Tony Stark exists, I don't see why I can't have a Solero.
Also, it's not canon, it's fruit.
But yes.
I will go back to looking out the window to see if there's anything interesting. Sipping my drink.
The only real interesting thing you can see in the garden is it looks slightly different. Pretty from a different angle. You were looking at it from the other side at the last time you were there.
Can I see any, like, that's what I say, can I see anyone, like, using more of those secret little passages, or?
Roll me a perception check.
Ooh, that's better. 20.
Okay. As you let your eyes then wander to your right now, to the corner where you know the entrance to the catacombs is, you see, walking out of the palace, down the steps, with large trays in their arms, some human servants. These trays are filled not with very, delicately, well-cooked, beautifully presented plates of food. They are, from what you can see, filled with, like, offcuts, leftovers, fruit not good enough to serve, but still edible. And these trays are walked down the steps by 3 or 4 servants around the corner, and you see them disappear, what looks like from this angle, into the ground, but is probably them walking down the steps towards the doors of the catacombs. It would appear that you are not the only ones that are going to be fed at this time this evening.
What's the uniform of the staff?
Uniform of the staff,
Yeah.
very simple, very elegant. Black trousers, a white tunic with the that's almost knee length. It has the emblem of the royal family, beautifully embroidered on the back of it, and again.
What's the emblem look like?
Sorry, the emblem of the royal family is a 3-pointed. It's not so much a crystal triangle, but it almost looks like the palace. A huge spire, but then around the base of it is a golden sun. And as the flames come off the edge of the sun, they go out then into rays, like a starburst.
Or an opal through?
That's fine.
I just want everyone to know that I only asked that so that Bray could show off the detail with which he's imagined this little world we're in. And what a crazy little fucker! He's even got the emblem for the royal family of the random fucking. I did have a drawing,
but because of obviously like Christmas and the kids and everything, a lot of the little drawings and doodles I've got have gone somewhere. But I will post it eventually. I will post a picture of it.
Genuinely bonkers the level of world building you have for this setting. Always impresses me.
Okay, I would like to try and remember that emblem in as much detail as possible. I have an idea for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the uniform, remember, as many details as I can. I want to really take notes and spend time studying it and getting it fixed in my head.
The uniform itself is very, very simple. The tunic is like a kind of very pale cream, almost white silk. It is padded a little for comfort and just to make more detail kind of stand out, I suppose. The trousers themselves, very, very simple black. Shoes or boots, depending on gender. Boots for men, shoes for the women. And that's it. The uniform is as simple as possible.
Fine. Thank you.
Anything else anyone wants to try before? Okay.
No.
You start to hear then the general hubbub of people outside the room start to get a little bit louder. And the doors once again then open behind you. And you see people and guards this time start to file in. The prince is at the head of the group. On one side of him is what appears to be the father of the young elven girl that Dice made friends with. We're going to call her Claudia. Fuck it. So, I don't care how far away from the original name that was. So as you make your way, as he makes his way then with the father on one side, leading Claudia, arm in arm, to the head of the table, he pulls out the chair. As you can see, lots of other guards and servants are pulling out chairs for the other dignitaries and the other people to be seated at the table. You see he pulls out a chair next to what would be his throne and bows, an exaggerated bow, very, very low, to Claudia, and gestures to the chair next to him. And she looks very, very embarrassed. Her face is bright red. And her father looks stern and angry behind her that she hasn't moved yet or said anything to kind of thank the prince for his generosity.
I'm going to start making my way over to the table.
Okay. Claudia does eventually then move and ends up, like, as she sits, her feet are off the floor. So, over the hubbub of the conversation, you do hear quite a loud as the prince kind of pushes the chair back into place with Claudia seated in it. He laughs.
Anna?
She laughs. The father looks mortified as everyone else in the room is looking in this direction now. He doesn't seem too pleased that as he sits down, he is met with the four of you seated opposite him.
Oriana, do you have honey with you?
Oh no.
Damn.
The
I was
utter
really-
chaos that Pacha would rule in this party.
I know, I was really hoping you had bought honey and hidden him, so I don't know where you'd hide him, to be honest, but
No.
I thought Claudia would like to hold a badger and be distracted from what is going to be, I think, the only child here this time.
As you look around the room, now for the first time checking this, yes, they are the only... Well, from what you can tell, there are some short, young-looking bearded Durgar, incredibly difficult to tell their age. There are quite short Dragonborn, but you're not quite certain whether young or just small. Of the, I suppose, easy to determine, more humanoid races seated around the table, yes, she is the only child you can see.
And Claudia's brother hasn't attended this time.
No.
So why bring her? Okay.
She the eldest by any chance?
She was. She is. Well, out of the Claudia and her brother that you met in the garden party,
Have we
she
got a
would
rough
be.
idea of how old she is?
She looks to be in human years at least. Maybe 11, 12.
She's getting to debutante age.
Okay. While I would like to take one of the napkins and attempt to fold it into a crane, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Everyone does origami when they're kids, right? So, see if I can remember how to do it.
Okay. Roll me a. Well, your artificery deals with paper, right?
Yep.
All right. Roll me.
All right. The napkins are going to be cloth, so I'll just pull a piece of paper out of my bag.
Okay. Roll me a tinkering check then.
Okay.
That's very kind.
Every now and again, in the Sirenscape sound, there is the sound of a woman who sounds like she is in the throes of passion.
It's
Every couple of minutes, sounds like she's having a great time.
She just
like,
has.
like that one. It's like that one D&D. D&D.
There is someone getting railed at this party somewhere.
It's like that one Guns N' Roses song where there's just like sex noises in the background.
I love that.
She just has a
would
very socially awkward but joyous laugh. That's.
She's wearing a magically enchanted
Behind one of those
vibrating.
tapestries.
Hang on. I know we're breaking character here, but Biggie, did you think you were imagining a woman in the throes of passion and you were the only one hearing that? What did you think was happening?
She's
I
wearing a
thought it was my neighbour at one point. I was like,
She's wearing a magically enchanted vibrating stone in her underpants, which is controlled by a linked rune stone held
oh,
by.
I'm not the only one,
by
Biggie.
the
Just every now and again, I was like, the hell?
I don't know.
On that note,
I've got 3 sound effects going on, which is echoing happiness, general hubbub, and happy rich murmuring. I don't know which one to turn off to get rid of it.
After the
There's another window open on the left. I
After
was
she-
trying not to say anything, but it just kept happening.
after she makes the noise, is there the sound of an old woman from New York saying, "I'll have what she's having"?
I'll have what she's having.
Good reference.
That was a really up to the minute fucking pop culture reference there. That one was just for Millie.
Reg.
What, you think she might actually know what
When Harry Met Sally.
when Harry
yeah,
Met Sally is? Because it was
That's the
before
kind
like
of-
2000.
I do. Do I add a dex modifier to a tinkering check? I can't remember if it's dex, intelligence. What do I? It's intelligence.
Intelligence plus your proficiency.
Plus my proficiency twice, not just once. So it's 5, 6,
Well, no,
7, 8.
I'm going to say tinkering check because it's like, with your hands.
Yeah, you don't get to use your tinkering tools.
You're not pulling your tools out to fold paper.
Right, so proficiency once. That's
Or-
fine. So it's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
All right. Then you make
Oh, there it is again.
a beautiful crane. Perfectly working as well. So as you pull the front and the bottom corners, the wings flap. And you present this to Claudia.
How many seats away from her am I?
Claudia is 1 seat. She is next to the prince on his right hand, or next to the prince's chair anyway. You are 1 seat away. The seat next to the prince being reserved for Oriana. So you are maybe a couple of feet across a table from her.
Okay. So Oriana is closer though. So it goes Claudia, Prince, and then Oriana, me.
Yeah,
So she's like
I'm sat directly opposite.
Claudia.
You're sat directly opposite Claudia. Fine.
Yeah.
But,
I'm guessing this is a straight table. So the prince is at the head of the table.
Sort of.
It's got a live edge, isn't it?
Yeah. Imagine a large wooden map of Britain. The prince is sitting at the northmost point, like, where Scotland is.
It'd be much narrower by Scotland than it would down south.
Prince is sitting at
This table is fucking huge.
Can I reach Claudia from where I am?
Yes, if you stretch over the table.
Fine. Because Scotland. Fine. Okay, so I'll go. Nobody should have nothing to fiddle with at a party when they're small. And I'm just going to lean over and sort of... when you do the thing where you can't quite reach, so you just sort of throw it the last couple of inches, like, at her. And then I'm going to sit back. Pretend like I'm being demure for a change.
You clock just out of the corner of your eye as you're doing this. The father is about to stop this from occurring. His hand twitches as if he's about to grab the crane, admonish either Claudia or you.
I'd love to see him try.
However, you also then see him kind of glance to the head of the table, where the prince currently still stands next to his chair, waiting for everyone to kind of sit down. And his hand then goes back to his lap, and he thinks better of admonishing the prince's, what appear to be, the prince's honoured guests.
I make sure I make eye contact with him too. Apparently that's my thing today, is to make aggressive eye contact with people. So I'm just going to make eye contact with him and just go.
You do see then, as the prince kind of holds his arms wide, everyone now begins to make a concerted effort to get themselves seated properly. There is at this point only 2, what you can see, empty chairs.
Charlie, what are you trying to hold back there? You look like...
What's that noise? It is definitely a woman having sex.
It wasn't that one then.
Are you sure? Look, just to be clear, have you guys left Orange Tube open
Let's
anywhere?
turn this off.
Orange YouTube.
I've got 2 tabs open. I've got Twitch and I've got D&D Beyond.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just gonna turn them off in turn and see if I turn off the one that's got the sound in it, right?
Try rich people having fun. Turn that one off first.
She said she definitely sounds like she's rich and having fun, does she?
I don't know, I don't have Sirenscape turned on.
The happy, rich, murmuring one. But yes, as you see everyone begin to take their seats, there are only 2 empty chairs. And as the prince kind of looks around, confused as to why the chairs are still empty, the doors that were closed after everyone entered open once more. And making their way through them are the Inquisitor, or the Grand Inquisitor, and the High Inquisitor. Your old friend and his boss. It is as they approach the table that the sudden slap of realization hits you that these 2 chairs are the only ones left empty, and they are directly opposite Quill and Ace.
I wiggle my toes at them.
As they get closer and closer to the table, the Grand Inquisitor not really looking up from under the hood of his cloak, but the High Inquisitor, standing tall, looks down at the 2 chairs, down his nose at the 2 chairs, and then his gaze slides along to Claudia and her father, sitting what would appear, by the look he's giving them, higher up the table or closer to the prince than he would have expected.
Can you just remind me, bro, which one's Grand and which one's High?
The High Inquisitor's the one we normally deal with. The Grand Inquisitor's his boss.
Yes.
The old one.
Grand is the one in charge. High Inquisitor is his second in command.
Roll to poke Quill's toe beans, not after they've been in boots, man. No one wants to poke that.
I keep my toe beans very clean, thank you.
Just before it looks like the High Inquisitor is about to say something, the prince speaks up. Please, honored guests, I believe it is time for us to sit. I apologize for the impropriety, but I believe that as this was my gracious, beautiful guest Claudia's first party of the kind of society that we are much more comfortable in than herself, it was only right that she should sit closer to the head of the table, so that I may speak to her and she can tell me what she thinks of the Empire, a fresh view, as it were, from such a young and precious mind as hers. Don't you agree? The High Inquisitor... The High Inquisitor kind of just... You can see the rage building in him. Only in his eyes. The rest of his features just completely blank.
I turn to the prince and go, I think you're absolutely right, Your Highness. You know, the young are really the future of the country, rather than old people whose ideas have been heard hundreds of times.
Melly, I wish you hadn't jumped in there, because I was just sitting here feeling like I was in a nature documentary. Like, yes, here we see Richard engaging in every DM's favorite activity, an argument with himself.
That was actually really good.
As the High Inquisitor's eyes then turn to take you in, you can see his lips barely part as he's about to say something before the Grand Inquisitor reaches out slowly and puts his hand on his arm. Very good, Your Grace. Come, let us sit. And the High Inquisitor pulls out a chair for him, and then waits until a servant rushes over and pulls out a chair for him. And finally everyone is seated at the table apart from the prince.
Never said I sat down either, but alright.
I just want to say...
Sorry, I thought you were sitting across from Claudia already when you said...
But it's fine, we can say I'm sat down, it's fine.
Based on his voice, I just want to say I'm pretty sure this Grand Inquisitor guy's on our side.
I think, not.
Based on conversations I've had with him, no.
Sounds like a good guy, just based on that voice Bro's doing.
Gotta keep poking the beast tonight. Never.
Has
We're very well behaved.
Has the sound come up again since, by the way?
No. No, it hasn't.
It was
Told you it'd be rich people.
No, it was in general hubbub.
Oh, I'm sad because I loved Happy Rich Murmuring as a description so much.
Happy rich murmuring.
It genuinely sounds like a stage direction, doesn't it? Like,
Could we have some happy rich murmuring?
everyone over here, could you just engage in some Happy Rich Murmuring?
The prince gestures again for quiet, and everyone around the table kind of just quiets down, hushes. It is my pleasure to welcome such esteemed company for dinner this evening. I am told the kitchens have prepared something quite special. Please, for now, there will be much chance for talking, the swapping of stories, but for now, please enjoy the food. And you see plates begin to magically appear, starting at the prince as he sits down, and they just appear and rattle very slightly in a rhythmic kind of wave as they appear all around the Empire, all around the table in front of everybody, followed by cutlery, glasses. You had your finger up, Mel?
Yes, does that mean that Oriana and I get served before the Inquisitor?
Don't know. At the moment, all that's in front of you is plates. But your plate does appear before the Inquisitor's does. You do notice, though, Claudia's is the first to appear.
Absolutely. I don't resent her. That's
Quill,
fine.
the prince has said nothing about your feet on the table.
Mm-hmm.
The plate appears under your feet.
Mm.
So your feet are very slightly shunted up a little.
You run the risk of having your feet in gravy, I think, my friend.
It wouldn't be the first time nor the last, I imagine.
Might influence the flavour of the gravy, though.
My feet are immaculately clean.
Sure, but...
Deep down, Quill.
The servants all around you
Sorry, Oriana.
begin to
Put my
walk
feet down.
over with menus and start to present them to you. You can see, as you glance up and down the table, yours are written in the common parlance of, or the language of Albion and Cimbria, so the common tongue. You can see opposite, even on the title pages, for Claudia and her father, they are written in Shalem. As you look a little further down, you can see, especially the arcane among you, you can see that the Dragonborn, the menus are written entirely in Draconic. Everyone has been catered for.
How inclusive.
Also, the menus, as you touch them, it's probably the finest quality parchment you've ever touched in your life. The ink is black, inlaid, and as you turn it in the candlelight, it's lit by little gold flecks.
Better than the parchment in spellbooks?
Ooh, that's an expensive paper.
It is spellbook quality.
Oh, save the menus. Everybody save the menus. I can use these.
Just write spells on the back.
Fine, perfectly fine.
No. As an arcane spellcaster, as a wizard, he would have been.
Spells don't know what's on the other side of a bit of paper.
And he also would have been taught the correct way to scrape a parchment to get rid of the ink and prep it because that parchment, you don't want to just ball it up and chuck it out if you get a spell.
Yeah,
wrong.
I probably wasn't paying attention in class that day, though.
Your Highness, I just wanted to ask, your lovely menus, you've got them in so many languages, do you just throw them away after the event?
I will be perfectly honest. That I had not considered. What happens to the menus? I thought they were put away, and perhaps...
This is very distressing. Single-use parchment is terrible for the environment.
Just so bad for the trees, you know? It was just a thought, that's all, Your Highness. I just wondered.
Dragon turtles choke on it.
I don't think they choke on much other than chips.
Fucking got him.
Once you have chosen what you wish, speak the dish aloud from the menu, and I believe a few moments later it should appear.
I'm going to look at the menu.
Yeah, tell me everything that's on this goddamn
Are
menu.
we having starters? Is everyone having a starter?
Yeah,
Of course we're having a
I think you're
starter.
having a starter, but I might do 2 desserts. It depends what's on.
As you look at the menu, all you can see right now is starters.
Right.
And at the top of the starter menu, it says course 1 of 7.
And what's on the menu, bro?
There are many different dishes. Some of them...
Pick something.
Yeah, tell us what they are.
Don't be a cock. Just order something off a starter menu, Greg.
I don't know, pate on toast, prawn cocktail.
I'll have the prawn cocktail.
All right, okay. Soup.
I think I will have the Gazpacho Soup. I'm curious about
I'm
it.
going to have the baked brie.
There is a baked brie.
I hear that.
Wait, I've changed my mind. How do I change? I'm kidding. I kid.
Can I have the prawn cocktail, but could I have it in a martini glass?
No, it's served in a chalice.
Oh.
Could I have it in a martini chalice?
As you all then begin to make your choices, and you see people making choices up and down the table as well, at first, the first thing that appears is Claudia's. The plate is suddenly full. She's looking at it quite skeptically, as she noticed it being ordered by Quill, it would seem. And there is quite a large prawn cocktail sitting in front of her. The rest of you then, your food begins to appear. In front of the Inquisitor is a quite plain and bland looking soup. In front of the Grand Inquisitor is what appears to be toast. With nothing else.
uh,
Oh my
taste buds
god,
anymore.
back, he's a psychopath.
Some slightly burnt bread. No butter. No pate. Just toast.
I look at that, and that is the weirdest thing I've seen today. So I'm just staring at his plate, going,
Please enjoy.
thanks.
Is this guy like this world's John Kellogg, and he thinks that eating the plainest food possible will stop him from feeling the urge to masturbate?
How has Kellogg come up twice today?
But yes, as you all then dig into your starters, I believe we're going to
Why
leave
is
it
it
there.
cold?
Um,
Why is
for
this soup
break.
cold?
Oh yes, Gazpacho.
That was very good, Millie.
I almost expected you to call a servant over and go, "Excuse me, can you have
Wait
this
till there's
warmed up?"
fly in my soup.
Is it supposed to be cold? I assume it's supposed to be cold. Is it okay? I'm eating it, going.
It's meant to be cold, guys. It's gazpacho.
I'm going to
nice.
order the vanilla ice cream for dessert and complain that there's black bits in it.
But yes, we're going to go on break for a moment. Not well, longer than a moment. But yes,
2 moments. We'll be
be
calmer
about-
when we come back.
We'll
Promise.
be about 10-15 minutes. Well, you can't promise for Greg, Mel. We'll be about 10-15 minutes. We will be back in a bit. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us. Don't go anywhere. See you in a bit.
Bye!
Hello! Welcome back. Part 2, episode 78, Chronicles of Nidum. And us, your Dice of the Beholder. Hello!
We felt we've already achieved so much in this episode that we'd give a second round a crack. You know?
The rest of the courses come and go in quick succession. There is very little time for much conversation in between the courses as they can. The food is excellent, the finest you've ever had. The prince does make a point of, between each course, talking mostly to Claudia, asking her how she is, how she's finding the food, making sure that she's comfortable. He is treating her like an adult, making sure that she feels welcome and comfortable and not too freaked out by the company that she's in. Her father, on the other hand, is, between each course, attempting to make very quiet, polite conversation with the High Inquisitor, who, after all of the courses, has ignored him completely. It is then, as dessert is being finished up by most, that you notice there are a substantial amount of empty wine bottles further down the table, and an argument appears to be beginning. Or at least the Dragonborn are starting to get louder, more boisterous, and all of their words, all of the sounds they are making is being directed towards... And it's now as he sits forward and kind of pushes his plate away from him, having finished his dessert, you see a Goliath. He is, as he sits up now, huge, towering above most of the other people sitting at the table. Maybe you expect about 7 foot, 7.5, standing tall. It's his eyes that really stand out at you, though, as he gazes around the table. There are no pupils, and they almost glow a brilliant blue-white. And you can see surrounding his eyes, crawling along his skin, tendrils of frost that seem to melt and reform with each breath.
Isn't he interesting?
He's about 20 seats away from you.
The Dragonborn, are they speaking in Draconic?
They are.
Can I make out what they're saying?
Roll me a
Since
perception.
I speak Draconic, so...
Roll me a perception.
Can I get Aurelia to translate for me?
Oh yes, you absolutely can, Dice. But
Ori speaks Draconic, so...
Yeah, I
but
speak Draconic.
yeah, but I need you to
What was I rolling?
perception. I need you both then to roll a perception check if you want to find out what they're
14.
saying. Okay.
What's my perception? Jesus Christ, 16.
There are a lot of crossed over voices, so it's difficult to determine like full sentences. But as they are quite far into their cups, and some of them begin to get louder, and there is a kind of rhythm to the conversation, you do, or it does stand out to you, that they are berating this Goliath for coming in place of his master, the Frost Giant. They wish that the Frost Giant was there so that they could challenge him to a bout. They hope that they will meet his master as they have killed Frost Giants before, and they hope that they are drawn to face him in the battle tomorrow.
Can I tell if they're lying about having killed a frost giant?
Roll an insight check.
I'm not going to try, because since I'm having it translated through someone else, I think it'd be very hard to tell.
20, not that, but 20.
Dirty 20, yeah?
Dirty 20. Pardon me?
From what you can tell, considering how drunk they are, as they continue on about the size of the frost giant that they have slain, if they were sober, you would probably be able to sniff out the lie. The drink is making it quite difficult. But if the frost giant that they had fought, that they did fell, was any larger than the Goliath sitting down the table from them, that would not surprise you.
So they did?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or perhaps a small one. Nowhere near as big
I
as the
did.
boasts that you now hear coming from up the table.
Yeah.
He was 120 feet tall!
Wasn't aware that the Dragonborn were prone to exaggeration.
I think when people have had that much to drink, they're prone to all sorts of exaggeration, usually about the size of more personal matters, remembering that there's a child in front of me.
Yeah.
Claudia is just smiling and is happy to be involved and included.
I'll say I'll translate for her what they're saying, in case she doesn't speak Draconic.
She does not.
Neither does Quill.
I mean, you're sat right next to us, you'll get the gist of the conversation. And as I'm telling Claudia, you'll hear.
Is the Goliath standing up in an aggressive fashion now?
Oh no, he's just sitting. You can't really tell from his mannerisms. He's just staring forward at the table. You can't really tell from his mannerisms whether he can understand what they're saying or not.
Okay. Then their bragging's not causing any harm or any concern.
No, they're just being dragonborn.
In which case, when Charlie's finished explaining everything to Claudia that's being said, I'll say, you will learn as you get older that drinking of that sort is not a good way to make new friends. They will also regret it tomorrow, I would imagine.
And sometimes bragging isn't worth it.
Oh no. For example, we defeated a metal dragon in less than 12 seconds today.
The prince stands. As it has been around about 2 hours in total, you've been sitting here eating, passing a pleasant but small conversation. The prince stands, waves his hand, and as you know, or have been told at least by the prince, that there is no magic from himself, it's then that you pick out the same sound you heard earlier when the servant touched the glass with the small metal rod. You hear a very, very, very quiet ting, and all of the plates on the table disappear, to be replaced with glasses and goblets. Some have hot drinks, some cold, some alcoholic, some not. And it is at this point that the prince stands straight and coughs to call attention. Mesdames et messieurs, the evening draws on. It is late or early for some of us, but for some it is very late and perhaps past their bedtime, no? Please, if we could all stand and bid adieu to our esteemed, our very lovely guest, Claudia. And her father, understanding that this is a dismissal of him as well, looks quite flustered, but does stand and takes her hand, and she curtsies gently, and you can see everyone around the table, even the Dragonborn, they very quickly shut up and go,
I attempt a graceful curtsy in Claudia's direction and completely ignore her father.
Yeah, Quill will stand and bow extremely deeply with an absolutely absurd amount of flourishing to Claudia.
Yeah, I'll courtesy and I'll be like, it's been an absolute delight to dine with you tonight, Claudia. You're a credit to your father.
Your father
absolutely are.
Slightly taken aback, but also pleased that you've said this quite loudly in front of the prince. Claudia just kind of very childishly, with no circumstance or pomp, just goes, thank you, it's really nice to see you. And
sweet dreams, Claudia.
the only ones who do not, the High Inquisitor stands. He does not bow anything more than a quick tilt of his head. The Grand Inquisitor does not stand.
Weird.
Probably can't. It's got a raging bonus.
The father...
You think he's locked under the lip of the table?
Wedged under the...
Yeah, just like...
The father and Claudia...
Just a setting.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, is the father sort of walking away at this moment? I would like to follow them for a moment and bow to him and speak with him for a second, out of earshot of the tables, if I can.
The prince sees you doing this and gestures for everyone to remain standing, but also takes his attention off you to give you a little privacy.
I'm
the
going
father
to bow.
stops and looks quite confused.
I'm going to bow to him very politely and say, Monsieur, I'm sorry for disturbing your evening as you are leaving. I wanted to say we have the attention of His Highness at this time. And obviously I have met your delightful daughter at the previous event. I am hoping that you do not mind me asking what your name is. I missed it today. I've met Claudia, obviously, but I am afraid your name has escaped me.
My apologies, mademoiselle. I am Robert.
It is a absolute pleasure to meet you both. Should we continue to be successful, I do hope that you will allow your daughter to sit close to us again so that we may continue to keep her within the prince's sights, and hopefully it will benefit your family in the future.
You see him glance towards the table, the dragonborn looks back at you. We shall see how your fortunes play out, and then perhaps.
Merci, monsieur. Thank you so much for your time. And again, I will bow as a human would normally bow to an elf with, significant deference, and I'll wave to Claudia like that and go back to the table.
Okay.
I have thoughts for the future, perhaps.
Claudia is beaming, very, very happy that you approached her father, and just is looking over her shoulder as her father, with as much deference to the room as he can, drags Claudia out of there as quickly as he possibly can as well.
And decorum.
I will absolutely wink at her as she's leaving, if she's looking.
She is looking, and she does see it, and her smile gets wider, even though you didn't think it could.
I'll return to the table and apologise to the prince for interrupting the proceedings. Again, very politely. I'm on best behaviour for a change.
It is okay. That's we have actually come to the part of the evening in which we allow the time to vacate the table, take a tour of some of the rooms of the palace. You merely preempted what I was about to say anyway. But yes, please. There is the trophy room. There is, of course, you can, for any more drinks, any more refreshments you wish, return to this room. The servants will be on hand to attend you. But please, do not feel you have to stay here or stay rooted to your seat for any longer. Please feel free to walk around. There are a few rooms that you can have a tour of. Those obviously allowed to in their capacity working for government. You may go into other rooms, but please do not stray too far from the path that the guards will give you. I will, of course, be on hand this evening. There are many of you that I wish to speak to and that wish to speak to me. But please, all in good time. But for now, enjoy yourselves. Please, go and look at the trophy room, which I am told is very full of wonderful things that we have won in a great many battles that I was not privy to.
I'm going to very quietly turn to Oriana and go, the trophy room, probably full of, trophies.
It would have been very important because there would have been a lot of trophies.
In the trophy. I'm saying it just loudly enough that the prince probably picks up on the joking I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But nobody else.
As everyone begins to move away from the table, having been given their leave by the prince does turn to you, or bends down to you, Oriana. There is, there are a great many things we must converse about before your leave this evening. However, I have a prior engagement. I will find you very soon, but please try not to... and he glances over at the backs of the High Inquisitor and the Grand Inquisitor as they walk off. Try not to antagonize anyone.
I'll put my hand on the back of his and I'll be like, I will be on my best behaviour. I can't speak for them. I just want to point over to the other lot.
I'm hurt. I'm
amused.
I
promise not
I
to
feel very
talk
seen.
I will be on our best behaviour, my prince.
Your Highness, I know you are about to depart. I just wondered if a guard or two could be spared for us to take a little wander of the gardens, if that would be permitted.
There are guards in the gardens. They will keep an eye on you. as long as you keep to the paths. But
Oh, it's fine. We just want to speak to one of your lamps. Thank you.
the prince just kind of looks at you. But very well.
He says some odd things sometimes. I'm just going to grab a glass of wine and head to go outside. Fresh air does sound wonderful, though.
And as he walks off, he just claps his hands in the air and just shouts, "Bards! Something more lively!" And you can hear now the music, which you thought was being piped in. There are actually bards over in a shadowy corner of the room that have just been playing like a lilting nighttime, just kind of ambience in the background.
As soon as the we're away from the prince, I look at Oriana and go, "Oh, I'll be on my best behavior, my prince."
Hey,
I'm sorry, do you want to stay in favour with the royal family, or...?
oh hell yes. It's going well for us.
Yes, just
Don't see you drop into your knees anytime soon.
you could.
I'm gonna go look for a lantern.
While I follow you and go, hey Ariana, I just had an idea if you wanted to make some extra coin, not that we're short of it at the moment.
Does it have to do with the
I
thing
don't
about
think
dropping to her
posturing and
knees?
dancing around at a royal party is going to be great for our reputation if I start dancing for money.
Well, you're a beautiful dancer. Don't do it for money then, do it for... making people more cautious about punching you in the face.
I understand I have quite a punchable face.
You have a beautiful face, and the more people here who see that, the less likely they are going to want to...
If we need a distraction, I will dance.
Let's go talk to a lamp. I'm interested to meet your lamp
I
friend.
want to try and find a lamp, a fairy lamp that's low down. If I can find the same one as last time, awesome.
I think I can honestly say I've never been so excited to talk to a lamp.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I told the prince the truth, by the way.
I don't remember
just...
the name. I cannot remember the name of the fairy.
The name of the fairy? Sylvia.
It was. Of course it was Sylvia. It's my grandmother's name. Can I call... There's no point calling out to her. She's chained, isn't she?
Okay. Looking at the garden, then, it is
I'm gonna
decorated.
ask one of the lamps if they know where Sylvia is.
Looking at the garden, though, as you get out into it, it is much different. It has actually changed, even in the one night since you've been in there, because there now do not have to be the clearings for you to be on display. Roll me an investigation check, with advantage, because you have been here before.
19.
19? Okay.
No, 19.
You do get turned around at one point, making it quite difficult to find your bearings again. But you eventually clock the stairs going down towards the catacombs, but they do seem slightly closer than they were the last time you saw them. So using those as a frame of reference, you do eventually make your way back to the benches that have now been slightly moved into a different position where you were the previous evening. And there are what appear to be the same fairy lights hanging from the trees around you.
Can I pick out Sylvia?
You walk up to what you believe is the same fairy light as before. And as you get closer, the light dims slightly and you do see inside a fairy. And it appears to be Sylvia.
Hello.
Hello. Ah,
Would you like a drink?
any catch?
No. Okay, I have one question.
Okay.
What's west of Avalon?
Strange question. Stranger still that none of your friends appear to be forced to speak the answer that everyone else does.
We had a very unique upbringing.
I have a magic book.
Magic book. Oh, whatever
Millie's on
small
mute.
straw you clutch onto to make yourself special. Um,
Do you speak Sylvan, Greg?
It's tough talk for a lamp. Sorry?
You speak Sylvan, do you?
I do not, I don't think. No.
Yeah.
I didn't realise we were in Sylvan, sorry.
no, we're not. She's actually
No, we're
speaking common now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't speak Sylvan.
To be fair, I speak Elvish, which I think is like if you speak Swedish, you can understand Norwegian, you know.
Yeah.
There is a great deal west of Avalon.
There is, huh?
Half of the world is west of Avalon. Depending on how far you go around, all of the world is west of Avalon.
What's hiding west of Avalon?
Oh, that's a very different question indeed. Drink.
Yeah. I'm just tipping my glass to her so she can drink from it.
Okay.
You're giving her a tequila sunrise.
Whee!
Oh, she's a fairy, it's mead.
She takes what seems like an impossible gulp. Like the level of the fluid in the glass goes down a lot more than you think it should for her tiny, tiny form. And she's going,
She's pissed.
No.
nothing hides west of Avalon.
What is concealed west of Avalon?
A great and beautiful land.
Your home?
No, Avalon is my home. The land west of us was a land we were charged to protect. From the realms of, well, kind of looks around at the palace gardens. Untouched and spoiled, rife with natural magic in its purest form. No longer. Now, all there is, as I'm sure you've heard, is nothing.
See, that's where I become confused, because even if it was damaged or destroyed, there would still be something there. The answer nothing implies a void. There cannot be a void.
Perhaps I worded it wrong. The nothing is west of Avalon.
Creature?
No,
Complain.
no.
An entity? A god? Something? How would you describe it?
Nothing.
Maybe a descriptor then. There is nothing west of Avalon.
I am quite low down on the ladder of Avalon. There are many who know more than I.
If you were freed from this place, would you return to Avalon?
If they accepted me, perhaps.
Why would they not?
Perhaps they were not listening. There are
If
a
you were
great few left. Perhaps the keeper of the door would be absent at the time I arrived, or I have been gone for so long that the lord and lady no longer recognize me.
If you were freed from this place and could return, would you be able to discuss others visiting in peace?
You wish passage to Avalon?
Possibly.
If it was a possibility, it is something I would like very much. I would like to. investigate nothing and learn more.
We're big fans of nothing.
No, I'm not a fan of nothing.
Or we're enemies of nothing.
Freedom is a weighty favor. Passage, I suppose, would be considered a less than fair trade. I would still owe you, if I could get you an invite.
Tiny of a lock can you pick, Quill?
I'm more than willing to give it a try.
We could also attempt to break them if it doesn't
They're
work.
iron.
We can, though.
What assurances do you have for us, Sylvia, that if we free you from this place, you'll keep faith with us?
And not cause chaos here. We have other allies here. We are not looking to upset. Oriana would take it amiss.
I am not the Fae in these palace grounds that will cause the chaos of which you speak. There are others much more apt at causing chaos here than I.
Who? That could be part of your return favour, is giving us that information.
Oh. We see a lot hanging from these trees. We've been here a long time. We know the names of some of those taken below. Some of those allowed to come up to see the stars every once in a while in exchange for information. There is one much higher up the ladder than I. Through those doors. And Sylvia nods behind you. Towards the stairs going down into the ground.
And if we free them?
They are a force for chaos. Freeing them might be in your best interest, then again it might not.
No one should be held prisoner.
The elves are not the first ones to imprison them. They have been imprisoned before by the Lord and Lady themselves.
Interesting.
And then allowed out when the Lord got bored. They do provide entertainment.
We do enjoy a little chaos now and then. But assurances? Will you keep faith? Speak plainly?
I cannot lie. I am a fairy, and you know my name.
That is true, Sylvia, and that is why I request that you say plainly that what you will do to help us in exchange for your freedom.
I promise that through my actions I will never cause any of you to come to harm. I also, in turn, promise that if I am given my freedom, I will do all in my power to request you access to Avalon. I can promise no more.
How would you get a response to us about the outcome of such a request?
When one is invited to Avalon by the Lord and Lady, the only ones able to give that invite, they will know, no matter where or how far from Avalon they are.
If you could let them know, we mean no harm.
If we free the prisoner you discussed, will the Lord and Lady take that amiss?
It would depend. I think they were in favour when last they resided on the Isle.
Thank you for the information.
What about your siblings here? Your friends, the others?
Can you free them all?
I don't know. How long have
so.
they been trapped?
Seconds, some. Weeks, others. Decades.
Do you know how to use a lockpick, Sylvia?
I do not.
Do any of them?
How were you caught? You said seconds, some of them. How are new ones being captured?
With salt and then iron.
I apologize. Who is doing the capturing?
Personally, an elf. I know one who was captured by a goblin. We are bound by our nature. When salt is spilled, we must gather and put back. Unfortunately, it is difficult to overcome the urge, and so we are captured.
I'm going to attempt to pick the lock.
Okay. Would you like to do this stealthily?
Yes.
Okay, roll me a stealth check first then, please.
In fact, so stealthily, I'm going to have my invisible mage hand do it. So I will be standing perfectly still, doing nothing particularly suspicious.
I'm going to turn and point to the stars
Okay.
with Oriana and discuss constellations loudly and at length.
Roll me a stealth check with advantage then.
Thank you, I will.
That one, it's got a slight greenish tint.
Good.
Lovely.
That's utter shite, so we'll take the first one, 27.
That's not bad.
Okay. I'll let that roll over to the lockpick as well, that's fine.
I thank you.
It's 27.
Yeah.
High number.
It would be horrible then if you know, your lockpick was like a critical fail. It's like completely invisibly you break the lock and all of the guards hear it.
You know what? No, wait. Don't do this. I'm gonna roll for the lock picking with advantage, because if I get two double ones, then I deserve for it to be a problem.
Go for it.
If I get two double ones. If I get two ones.
Go for it.
Two double ones would be rolling with disadvantage.
We're safe, guys. That's 29.
That's even better.
So,
You show the lock the pin and it just opens.
It's just went, fuck.
the locks are tiny. It is baffling to you how anyone has made a mechanism that small, but it is from what you can see, a perfectly normal padlock. It does take longer than it usually would, but eventually you feel the lock open, and as it does so, the magic break. The padlock and the manacles suddenly sprout or grow in size by like 5 times as big as they once were. Still very, very small, but you can see that the magic was put on them to make them small enough to capture a fairy. And as they do, Sylvia's hands fall out of the manacles and they drop into the bottom of the lamp.
Bless you, Charlie.
Thank you.
I'll swipe the tiny manacles with my mage hand since it's there.
Okay. You kept your word.
Sometimes
No,
mortals
There's
do.
no reason not to.
Not all mortals lie.
I will keep mine.
I would
Drink
appreciate
for the
it.
road?
One should not drink too much and fly.
She leaves like this.
That sounds like good advice.
It has been a while since I've done this, but let's see.
Before you go, Sylvia, I apologise. How long have you been here? You personally?
237 years.
Jesus fucking Christ. Be careful on your way home. Try not to fly into a tree.
There will be some new ones.
Hell yeah.
I will be alright, I think. the light from her flares for a moment, and it starts to hover, moves out of the lamp, and it zips almost faster than the eye can follow, straight to the edge of the garden and over the wall.
How many more are there?
Too many. There's no way we can free anyone else.
As you
and we never said we would.
As you contemplate this question and look around the garden, there are hundreds of these lights.
I wonder who is aware of what they have trapped in these lamps.
Probably more people than I'd like to think.
They hate it.
Speaking of people trapped.
Yeah. I'm not sure now was the time to go down there, though. I think we should speak with the prince first.
Possibly.
As much as we need to free people, we're currently being very watched. I had a thought, actually. Is there anyone listening to us, Rich, or anywhere close by? Guards, anyone. I want to make sure we are out of hearing range.
Roll me a perception check.
Yeah.
I'll join in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be using a Flash of Genius on that there.
12.
I got plenty.
19 with the Flash of Genius.
I got 21.
Okay.
And Ace got fuck all.
Okay.
Not perceptive is Ace.
As you look around the garden, then, the guards, while some of them do appear to be keeping a semi-regular eye on you, most of them appear to be keeping more of an eye on the Inquisitors, who appear to be either intently staring at you or the other Inquisitors, who you now see far off in the garden in a close conversation with the prince.
You know, I'm feeling...
Quill, sorry. As you're looking around, you do see that the shift change for the guards who are looking after the stairs going down into the catacombs, as they have met, the two guards coming out to take them off duty have brought drinks with them, and they have elected to spend a moment sitting on some benches with their backs to the stairs, drinking together.
You know, I'm feeling a little restless. I may stretch my legs and find somewhere quiet and out of sight. I'm, such a shrinking violet. Being around all of these people for so long, I feel a need for a moment of solitude.
Why don't you go recharge your social battery?
I think I shall, Oriana. What an elegant way of phrasing it.
Anna, we are having such a night. Perhaps we should retreat back into the main room and...
I was thinking of checking out the trophy room.
Fantastic idea, or perhaps some dancing. For both of us, I mean, not show dance. And as we're talking, we'll...
Yeah. Let's actually turn this into a party.
You are taking Ace with you. Ace is not coming with me.
Yeah, no, we're taking Ace.
I'm going to make Ace dance.
Oh, I was hoping for an Ace stealth check there.
Nope,
We're not leaving Ace to do stealthing.
Not happening. Ace isn't coming on the stealth mission.
Okay.
I love Ace, but no.
No.
Okay. So, as the three of you then make your way back into the party, Quill,
Hello.
where are you going?
You fucking know exactly where I'm going. You coy little bastard.
How are you going to get there?
Stealthily. Preferably. What seems like the path least likely to be observed?
Roll me an investigation or perception check, whichever you prefer.
We're not allowed to include that in the 21 perception I already rolled?
All right. Yeah, no.
Pause.
No, I'll allow that actually.
Sorry to be cheeky. My perception bonus is not very high.
That's okay. as you look, then there are a great many large, heavily manicured like hedges, bushes that you, if you were of a mind to, could probably stealthily make your way between without being seen if you disappear now.
That is exactly what I would like to do.
Okay.
Now,
Make me a stealth check then, please.
I would love to. It's only a 30.
It's only a 30. All right.
Only a 30.
Spending a moment then checking the eye lines of the guards closest to you, the Inquisitors especially. You step behind a bush, and from anyone who was watching you, do not step back out. You make your way quickly, but very quietly, through the wet grass, dampened by the dew, the chilly evening, so as not to make too much sound. And eventually, it takes you about half an hour, but you do eventually get around to the unseen side of the stairs going down. The top of the stairs are lit quite well. There is a hedge leading up to the drop that you could hide behind, but you would have to then jump down effectively to the bottom of the stairs, which is about 15 feet.
I'm a cat.
Okay.
I will do exactly this thing that you say.
Cool. Roll me an acrobatics check then.
Love to. 23.
23. Your feet leave the ground. Very little sound. You land with even less. And you find yourself in front of a large, heavy oak, banded with iron, locked door. It is a familiar door. You have seen this. You have watched Sir Kai walk through it in a dream. It is, however, locked.
I'm going to place my ear against the door and spend a few seconds just listening, seeing whether I can hear anything beyond.
This would require a new perception check, please.
I thought it might, yes. God, what are my rolls? 22.
Wow. I thought you were upset at your rolls, not...
No, I've been ever since this section began, I've been rolling scary good. Something very bad is going to happen. Something's going to go very badly wrong.
You can hear nothing other than the breathing and muted conversation of the guards nearby. The loudest sound to you is the music still coming out of the windows above. Through the door, there is the echo of a footstep, or some footsteps, as they move away from you until there is complete silence.
Okay, I will very swiftly check for traps around the sort of locking mechanism of the door. And then, if I find none, I will attempt to pick it.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check.
Love to. There it is. 8.
Okay. It is, again, what appears to be a simple padlock. The same as the one you've just unlocked for the fairy, just much larger this time.
Okay, I will attempt to pick it.
Okay.
34.
Okay. The lock very quietly clicks open. You take your breath, waiting for a trap, a spell. There is nothing.
I will make my way inside, please.
Cool. Okay. You make your way inside then and close the door behind you. It has been 20 minutes now for the rest of you mingling, wandering around the party. Did you go straight to the trophy room?
I think we were heading in the direction of the...
Yeah,
The
we're sort of
trophy room?
mingling, making our way around, chatting with anyone who wants to chat with us.
Okay.
Heading in that direction, but not in a targeted fashion, more being visible.
Yeah. Making it known that we're there.
As you go back into the dining room, then it is effectively empty, apart from the servants, who all look, as soon as they clock your entrance, ready to serve, ready to give you anything you need. They do notice, of course, that you've still got drinks in your hands, so they wait calmly until you approach or gesture to them before they move. One of the guards, though, does kind of open a door as you get closer to it, and as you look through it, you do see the main bulk of the partygoers are still there inside a room filled with shiny objects, armor, weapons. The music appears to get a little bit more somber, in reverence of the things that appear to be in this room. This is the trophy room.
While we're in here, can I have a look for any human-made weapons from the big battle where the elves defeated the human armies once and for all? Because I would assume there would be some, and proudly kept. I want to see what weapons they have.
Roll me an investigation check.
I'd love to. I was Googling something, so I need
It's
to go
very
back.
pretty, Greg.
Turn on the ring light on your camera for it to show more.
Oh, it's good. Oh, my investigation check's really good. 24. It's a blink dog dice, guys, not dispel. For me. 24. Very pretty.
Okay. It takes maybe 5 minutes. But eventually you do make your way through the party with circumventing groups of people who all nod in respect to you and smile and wish you luck for the next day's bout or congratulate you on a well-fought battle today. But eventually you do get to what appears to be the oldest section of the throne room. Here you find weapons much pitted with rust. But a lot of them still standing the test of time. These are not the elegant or flourished weapons that you've seen some of the elves around the palace either wearing themselves or pointing out quite loudly, "Oh, this is a velvet make. It's beautiful. You'll see the lines and the curves in the blade." These are heavy, hard-wearing weapons of war. Swords as much meant for cutting as they are for bludgeoning armor, for breaking shields. And you can see, just by the craftsmanship, and as Ace points some things out to you, these are definitely weapons of man.
Are there any that look more outstanding than the others? I assume any high-profile people who were killed, perhaps their weapons would have been gathered and taken to this trophy room / museum.
There is one.
Mm-hmm.
It stands in the center of the display. All the other swords either framing it or pointing towards it, and it is perfect. However, in Elvish, on the plaque below it, gorgeous,
I asked Gori to read it.
gorgeous in its simplistic grandeur. This is, and it is says on the plaque below it, a replica of Excalibur, the only sword wielded by, of course, the great evil human king before the fall. And
Is it a replica?
It says on the plaque that the true sword was never retrieved, lost at the end of the battle.
But is it a replica? Just checking.
I would like Ace to make a...
I'm asking Ace.
I would like Ace to make an investigation check with advantage because of their knowledge of weapons.
I can do that.
Well, knowledge of weapons and smithing.
Investigation check, you say?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hefty +0 to that. Bad. Worse. 9.
It could also have been a history check, right?
That's also
Historical sword making. No, it's still +0, right?
yeah, mating with historical swords. Unless you can come up with a way this could be an athletics check, Ace is fucked up. Ace has fucked it up pretty bad. If it's an athletics check, it would have been a 22.
Did you say it was 9?
Yeah.
9.
I'll give Ace Flash of Genius as well to at least get it to 14.
Okay.
Have some idea.
Okay. Ace peers close then. For a moment. And then after a few minutes of checking, very simply, in their way, reaches forward and flicks the blade. There is a very tinny ring. And Ace turns and confirms that one swing and it would snap in half. It is a showpiece and is in no way, shape or form like the other blades that they point out. Those ones, broken and pitted as they are by rust and age, could still kill a man. That one would barely open a letter.
Well, it makes sense, he disappeared, so presumably he took his sword with him. Still interesting to me. Thank you, Rich. That's all I wanted.
Just a quick history check, because you were there in the dream the first time Quill went. You know what happened to Excalibur.
Do I? Then why would I throw all this? Did it get thrown in a lake or something?
It was given back.
Throw you in a lake.
The gift from the Fae was given back to the Lady of the Lake. That's what caused this.
See.
The first diary dream sequence that you guys had.
Clearly, I knew that and was just testing your memory, and also seeing what the elves had done when they couldn't claim that mighty sword for their collection. And showing Oriana what the sword looked like that we've had. Oh, this is what was in there.
In fact, now you're remembering the dream.
Yep.
This sword actually carries a lot more flourishes and is much more ostentatious than the real Excalibur. The real Excalibur was, in fact, a very simple martial weapon.
In which case, I'll giggle with Ace about how they had to make the humans seem even more evil by making their swords overly pretty, compensating for the mediocrity of the human race.
Looks elven.
Does look elven. But then I suppose the sword originally came from the Fae, so... And at that point, so did the elves. I say that very quietly to Oriana. I'm not attempting to draw any kind of attention to what I've just said.
Okay. It would appear all, at some point, flock to the evidence of your people's failure. And you turn, and standing behind you, alone, is the Inquisitor.
High or grand? High or grand?
Hi.
Hi.
The grand one sounds like the fucking Emperor from Star Wars.
However,
Weird.
while that's happening, Quill,
Hello.
you are in an empty corridor. The corridor is in fact familiar to you. It has not changed much, even in the last 2,000 years. The sconces that hold torches are, I suppose, prettier. They must have been updated over the years at some point. but the layout is almost exactly the same as you have seen. What would you like to do?
Well, my first priority is to locate the Queen of the Drow.
Okay.
That word completely escaped me.
Matron Mother.
Yeah, the Matron Mother. Thank you. That's my first. You're not here. That's my first priority.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check then, please.
I would love to. That's a 5 on the die, but well is not bad. Invest 12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay. It does take a while. Stealthily walking. The echoes of footsteps make them easy to avoid. And with your stealth skill, I'm not going to make you roll unless I have to.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not difficult to avoid the patrolling guards down here. They are few, quite far between their patrols, it would seem. It takes you a while, though, with the familiarity absorbed from the diary. It takes you a while to realize that you appear to be following that preset path. And it's kind of shock to the system, which then allows you to step off it. But maybe after another 20 minutes of searching, you hear footsteps and just manage to duck into a shadow to see the servants. Observed previously, taking food down, now leaving with empty trays. Once they have passed, you make your way then down the corridor that they just came from. It is much more brightly lit, and there are guards now standing under the light sconces at regular intervals. However, these are now catacombs, and what appear to be cells, there are ways around them. I would now like you to roll me a stealth check as you investigate the cells.
That's going to be a 26 there, buddy.
26. Okay. So, you duck again into shadow, making your way around the first cell to a point where you can see into it. There are no bars on either end of the cell. As you get closer, you can see now a green shimmer. There is some kind of field that closes off each end of each cell. Inside this one, though, there is a figure, hooded, chained up, quite skinny, not malnourished, just slight. It is not the Matron Mother. But as you make to move away, you hear a voice, whispered loud enough that maybe only you can hear. Pitter, patter, pitter, patter. I think too many whiskers to be a Mad Hatter. The hair, perhaps, but no. Too quiet for that madness. A cat? How big are your teeth, kitty, kitty? And the head comes up and the hood goes back. And a spill, almost a waterfall of beautiful, stark white hair spills out from under the hood, and you are looking at a very long, severe, but almost beautiful face. You can see much longer pointed ears poking up through the hair on either side. And he looks at you quizzically through the green force field.
more sharp than they are big.
Interesting. You talk of your teeth or your claws? No matter. Please allow me pause. I have not seen a specimen as handsome as you recently. Allow me a moment to enjoy the view.
It's always a pleasure to meet someone with excellent taste.
Taste. Everything they bring is bland. I would have killed myself long ago for not being able to stand the food.
May I say you're exceedingly beautiful yourself?
I am in the mood, which changes like the seasons of my lord and lady, to be called handsome this evening. It is evening, yes?
It is, and handsome it is. Exceedingly so.
My thanks is given, though was not asked for. You're here on some kind of quest or task. Or are you?
I'm here visiting such personages as may seem important and interesting and distracting. I think I may have heard about you earlier today. Do you know a Sylvia?
I know a great many Sylvias. Some were kinder than others. Some are larger than others, some small. But eventually I lose memory of them all. Sylvia, who spoke of me, she did not.
Sylvia from Avalon. No, she did not give me a name for you.
Good.
She only said that you were a powerful and consequential being. Sometimes in favour and sometimes out of it with your lord and lady.
Always in favour with my lord. Never in favour with my lady. Every once in a while, the malady that she suffers from means that my lord can be convinced to banish me from court.
Is that how you ended up in this dire circumstance?
No, this circumstance was fault of my own. Unfortunately, I travelled alone, and upon a pleasant eve, found myself taking leave of my senses, and ended up betrothed to an elven woman, hair so fair. And eventually I jumped into the air, revealing myself in all my glory, and that is how this horrible story saw me here, bound and chained, with not a magical morsel to my name, a name powerful and feared all across these lands. Unfortunately, not so much with these hands bound as they are.
I must say, it's such a pleasure to listen to you talk.
Strange, I have heard almost the exact opposite, mostly from my lady.
Well, different tastes, but your voice is very musical, and your words have such a pleasant cadence to them.
I do but try, but come. I have seen through these tired eyes that you are a very enterprising young mortal. Tell me, where falls your loyalties?
I believe that there is a great injustice being wrought upon this earth, and it is my dearest hope to right it, to mitigate it where I may. Funnily enough, I think that leaves us with a common antagonist. The same regime that keeps you so in such inadequate quarters for one of your station.
And there you see your logic fails, because you have not named the one that ails you. You have chosen the Elven Kingdom, powerful and unjust. However, they, like me, bound in these chains from ceiling, like a marionette, are paraded around, unfeeling and knowing the play they are part of.
The regime I was speaking of was the Inquisition, in fact.
Ah, yes, the weapon of the puppet master. The one you are truly after.
Who's the puppet master?
Now that is an interesting question. But you have asked them all. All answers come with a price. I cannot lie, and so my truths are for sale. But do not worry, because any truth I utter will pale in comparison to the tools it gives. First of all, though, I have a question for you. Whom do you visit down in these dingy halls?
The matron mother.
Ah, yes. A lovely young woman. It was, and did, pain me when she was brought in. She is fine, but that may change in time.
That's a concern. She's dear to friends of mine.
She is dear to a great many more than friends of yours. But again, what do you think you can accomplish with your paws? Her freedom?
Perhaps not tonight. I want to establish a connection. See the condition she's being kept in. I don't like to plan too rigidly. You strike me as a person who can appreciate a little flexibility.
I have never been one accused of being a fan of anything that would come anywhere near or akin to a plan. Let chaos reign is my motto.
Yes, chaos. I like it. I like a little chaos.
It brings me joy. Like using people, little toys as they are. I have been written about, spoken about, sung about, lounged about. Perhaps friends we can be. You and your other three.
It would be the greatest honor to call you friend.
For my friendship, I request freedom. My freedom is simple.
Yes?
It is a strange and horrible affair. The spell they have wrought affected the air of silence. None can utter my name, which, with the amount of fame I have, has been quite horrible. But if you can guess my name, the spell is broke, and like from a slumber I will be woke, and I may leave and help you so.
Are you able to provide me with any clues?
My name has been said to bring you luck. When trying for a child, I've been known to fuck.
Is his name Greg?
I can not think clearly enough to truck with all this nonsense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a guess, but I don't want a metagame.
You don't have to
Would
metagame.
Quill know?
Quill can roll me a history check with advantage.
Okay.
Stories of elven and fey history are told to children.
18.
Then, yeah, if you want to try for a guess.
Is your name Puck?
Oh, joyous days, my friend, you see me surely gay. I am Puck. Sounds so good to say after all these years. A moment. The chains disappear, and he is standing next to you.
He's even rhyming his narration. What a bastard.
The chains disappear, and he is standing right next to you. He seems much diminished now. He is not kind of splayed and on display, and he seems much smaller next to you than he did when he was in the cell.
I bow very deeply to him. Very deeply.
Do not bow in front of me. Surely this is a moment for glee. I am indebted to you, my friend, which I now will call.
I think that respect is always due to such worthy and clever folk.
A moment, please, then, my friend. I must appease any who would be offended that I've left. A tease. And he clicks his fingers, and you look back in the cell. And even though he is now standing right next to you, the perfect picture of the first hooded figure that you saw is chained up inside. They do not speak to me often. And so, as long as that continues, they should never notice.
My friend Puck, I have a suspicion that this world is going to be much more interesting with you out and about in it.
Well, we'll see.
The name of that puppet master? Will you share such information with a friend?
A name I would truly give if I could. Oh, but if I knew it, I would. A name they were not born with, no. For more information, you would surely have to go far. The name by which I know them, and you do too, is already plain to you. On the mouths of thousands you've heard it spoke. Missed it, perhaps, asleep you were, but now woke. The name of the puppet master is the Nothing. Never has a truth been spoken more than in the Empire since you went from home and asked the question, what is west of Avalon, my original nest? And when they reply, as all have done, each and every single one has uttered the truth every time. Nothing is west of Avalon, and it comes closer.
Grave. This is very grave news.
I apologize, my friend, for speaking true.
Never.
I have said before, but surely you, with your smile, your wit, your sharp teeth, rapier, sword, surely you can go and lord about and right these wrongs, this injustice you see, you and your other three.
We hope to.
Well, 2 cells down, the matron mother you will find. 1 over, a shapeshifter they did bind. Further, in a cell I have not seen, and will not approach, for fear. You will find, perhaps, an old friend. There, possibly, they will meet their end. For their life is what binds them, true. Go, if you want a view.
Puck, having met you once, my life will be dull and grey in your absence. How, if I need to, may I find you again?
I am never far from chaos. I never stray too long from joy. And there are those about who can find me, messengers, perhaps an envoy. Ask the wind, and it shall carry your words to me, and I will not tarry to find you again, if needs be. But I have a debt to pay, so I will take my leave.
This has been a singular pleasure. I look forward to the next day we see each other.
As do I. Tell your friends they have a friend in me.
I certainly will.
Farewell, farewell, farewell. To you and the other 3. He clicks his fingers again, and he's gone. You also hear quite loud snoring. And as you look back into the corridor between all of the cells, every single guard that you saw earlier is asleep. While that is happening...
Fucking love that guy.
While that is happening, back to the throne room. You have turned, standing before you, alone, looking down his nose at you all. Apart from you, Ariana, because you're taller than him.
Is that the throne room with all the trophies in it?
It is. Is the Inquisitor.
Good evening, Inquisitor.
What a singular pleasure to see you. And I will curtsy and genuinely look respectful, just to see if I can get a confused expression to flicker across his face or anything.
He sneers at you. Come now. We have been friends for too long for us to lie to each other.
Your Grace, is that how you would describe our relationship? Friends. I have never yet tried to kill my friends, but there's still time.
I've been alive for a very long time. Friends become enemies, and the reverse is true. I've tried to kill a friend from time to time. I have enemies that I have failed to kill that have become friends.
Alive's a bit of an overstatement, isn't it?
Your friends close and your enemies closer.
That gets a reaction from him. And he looks at you confused for a moment. And then, slightly more shrewdly, trying to work out the exact meaning of what you said.
I just smile and I try and look completely blank, and I'd like to think in great detail about my armor and how nice my armor is and shiny, and that I really like the color bronze. Bronze is nice, and I really want to get into like the details of armor in my head.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom saving throw with advantage.
You got it. I know this guy now. I know him. I know his tricks. With advantage, you say? Wisdom saving throw. Yeah, that is a 21. I rolled a natural 20 and I have a +1 on my saving throw.
Very nice.
Nice.
You feel the tendrils of his mind start to clasp onto yours and start to push deeper past the surface thoughts of armor and your inventions. And you manage to throw up a shield as strong as the suit of armor that surrounds you. And you feel a deep growl emanating from your chest and ringing out in your mind, and the tendrils are pushed away.
Some of us have monsters in our head. No offense, Aurelia, I don't think you're a monster.
I see you are all admiring the trophies we have won over millennia.
It's quite the impressive collection.
Not really. I have a much more impressive collection at home, garnered from all across the Empire.
Dead tieflings. And also, you say an impressive collection, but I think we both know the majority of these would have just been picked up off the battlefield after the humans were no longer there.
There are hidden tombs, child, filled with the bones and weapons of your ancestors.
Where are yours kept?
Oh, you remember, Dice, they don't die, they just get
mold,
more and more decrepit.
Moldy, and then when you scratch them...
Yeah.
You scratch them, you get dust under your nails, it's unpleasant. Yeah, of course, sorry, my mistake.
You speak to me with the familiarity of someone who believes them safe.
I speak to you with the contempt of one who doesn't care.
I dislike you so much. I know what you could do to me. And I don't care.
And if I fall, there are 1,000 other humans to take my place, because we breed like rabbits.
And you're too vile to be scary.
Pants is in.
You wish you were there right now, don't you? It's killing you.
No. You are too vile of an elf to fear.
Not an elf anymore, Oriana. An elf is what he was.
What, some sort of creature?
An elf so corrupted that he fails to see how revolting he's become.
Well, I mean, he obviously can't look at himself in the mirror.
Why else would you change your face? Your Grace.
Truly has been a lovely evening. No, if you'll excuse us. And I'm just going to take Dice's hand and walk away from him.
Should we dance? I do think we should maybe have a dance.
As you walk past him, he grasps your arm to stop you and leans
Me
in.
or Oriana?
Oriana.
Always.
There will come a day where the prince's protection is no longer yours. And on that day, if you believe you could possibly imagine what I will do to you, you have not been alive long enough to experience enough to possibly imagine a fate that dark.
I am going to twist the grip, so I'm grabbing his arm instead. Pull him close and say, I am going to burn your heart out of your chest. I'll just leave.
Okay.
As we go, I'll go, most things we'd cook, I'd eat, but that would just be very unpleasant. And I'm going to say that audibly, as though not a care in the world. Very much just chatting as we're leaving.
As you walk off, then the prince makes his way out of the crowd. Says, Mademoiselle, a dance is happening. Please come. We will be couples. There will be a ring of 4. We can dance and perhaps talk.
That would be lovely.
Does that mean I get to dance with Ace?
You do.
Ace, you're going to step on my foot as we're going. Ace is there in armour. No, Ace is wearing a suit. It's okay.
Ace is in a suit, yeah.
As the music begins then and you all walk out in your couples onto the dance floor, you are given a wide berth. You can see other couples exchanging partners, but in deference to the prince, you are left alone, so your partners are your own. Before that conversation, though, Quill.
Hello.
All the guards are asleep. What do you want to do?
I want to visit the matron mother, staying on task.
So following Puck's directions then, you make your way over to 2 cells along. And there, chained up, very much the same as Puck was, is the matron mother.
Does she react to me being there at all?
I say the matron mother, as Quill has never met her. There is a quite beaten looking older drow woman, but even in her kind of tattered clothing, her hair kind of hanging much more bedraggled than it was when your friends were introduced to her. As she looks up at the sound of you approaching, it is still she still cuts a much more regal figure than anyone you have ever met in your life. This is a woman who, when she speaks, commands armies and not with fear. This is a woman who is respected and is used to being respected.
I will say to her, do I find myself in the honoured presence of the matron mother of the drow, I suppose. I don't know exactly how to, but Quill does, so I'm going to leave it to him.
You are the first person to speak to me in such a respectful fashion since I've been brought here.
Yes.
So I will answer you honestly. Yeah, you are in the presence of the matron mother of Felder. I am unfortunately at a loss. I have not seen many tabaxi in these catacombs, and I do not know who you are.
My name is Eleanor Subtle Quill of the Fragrant Peaks clan. I prefer to be called Quill, and not by my elven name.
I believe my kingdom has traded with your family. Not publicly, of course, but what would you have of me, Quill of...
I wish to pay my respects and to pass on A message of comfort from from mutual friends.
And who are these friends?
People who hold you in extremely high esteem, Your Majesty. Oriana, Dice, Ace.
I expected a fourth name to be among them, but it would seem that the little cunning one has finally seen through or outgrown their use for their companions. Yeah?
I never met them.
You now count yourself as the fourth of them?
I owe them a very great deal. I believe that they spent some time with you, and so you'll know they're a very special group of individuals.
Do you trust them?
I can honestly say that I do with my life. You?
I had given up hope, and with hope, trust is also fleeting. However, hope has now been brought back to me, and so, yeah, I do trust them.
I'm glad. They haven't abandoned you.
They are here?
They are. They couldn't. I was thought the most suited to making the journey down here.
Then I have a message for them.
I'll deliver any message you have.
I once, as a queen, demanded of them something which was too much, insane, and would very likely have gotten them killed. They were right to refuse. My message for them is my freedom is too much, is insane, and will very likely get them killed. So this time, I would ask that they do not attempt it. Perhaps that will make up for the way I treated them last time.
Your Majesty, I'm already here.
And my plan, or your plan for my freedom? Can you cast down these magical barriers? Is that even one of my not inconsiderable prowess cannot affect?
Can I see any way to deactivate the cell?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Arcana. Nine. I knew it was going to happen.
You can't see any mechanism. There appears to be no... And as you've gotten used to the elven technology that uses this kind of green, sickly energy and the crystals that normally generate it, there are no crystals down here. The light appears to be there, but as you study it, it does pulse. And the pulse of it reminds you of a heartbeat. But the type of magic, the type of spell that would create this barrier and have it stand this long, no, you've got no clue.
You know more about your enclosure than I do, Your Majesty. Does anyone come here? Does anyone deactivate this barrier? Do you see how they do it?
The askers of questions can do it with a wave of their hand. No words are spoken, no sigils drawn, just the wave of their hand. My freedom lies with the Inquisition. a force too powerful for you and your friends to take on. I implore them, do not attempt my freedom. I will die for my people, and perhaps they will stop being pursued for a time.
I think that my friends and I would prefer to see you live for your people.
Then when next you visit me, you must do so with a much better plan.
I assure you that it won't ever be far from my mind. The Inquisitors are, in our way. They're certainly on a long and growing list of problems we have. If there's any way that solving our problem can lead us to a solution to yours, I believe that you know my friends as I do well enough to say that if there's the smallest chance, they will attempt it. But I'll pass on your message. But I think we probably both know them well enough not to anticipate compliance.
My daughter did always have a soft spot for the heroically inclined. And I believe when last I saw her, she was very much in love with your friend Dice.
Well, Dice doesn't seem like the type of person to leave her potential future mother-in-law rotting in a cell. Very determined, that one.
Yeah, I have seen this. Also not one to hold her tongue against those who mistakenly believed them to be her betters.
I don't think Dice was raised in an environment where she had betters.
Perhaps we would all be lucky to be raised in a place such as this.
I don't know. Where I was raised, I didn't have any betters, and it doesn't seem to have done me very much good. But I must take my leave of you, Your Majesty. I apologize. But my understanding is that there are others held here that I need to see also.
Perhaps.
Don't lose hope. You have friends very close by.
I do not lose hope. I have hope now, though, that your friends will see reason, and that they will abandon this foolhardy quest to come and save me.
Or maybe you might want to lose that hope. A pleasure meeting you, Your Majesty.
It is a pleasure having a conversation that did not result in pain, so thank you.
If we can't save you, or if, by some miracle, my friends decide to heed your warnings, I assure you we will extract a heavy price for the pain you've suffered.
That is a comforting thought. Danke.
Goodbye. I move to the next cell.
Okay.
Down.
The next cell over is a very familiar face. Nikolaus Wrath stands in the cell, chained and staring at you.
Well, fucking hell, Wrath, what are you doing here?
A pained smile spreads across his face. And then suddenly, Natasha stands before you instead of Niklaus Rath.
Well, fucking hell, Natasha, what are you doing here?
Natasha disappears, and a small girl stands there instead.
Okay, well, maybe I should rein in the swearing a little. But what the hell are you doing here?
Finally, all pretense and illusion falls, and plain, almost featureless grey skin covers their face. You can see their eyes, their lips are cracked, and as they open their mouth, you can see a scarred nub where their tongue once was. And they shrug as much as they can in their chains.
Monstrous.
They wink at you. A smile spreads across their face again, and they turn back into Niklaus Rath. And you do remember hearing just a rumour that one of the human leaders of the resistance had been captured. Or at least the elves believed so. Because you heard that rumour before the last time you saw Niklaus Rath.
Do I have any... is this cell the same? Do I have any idea how to deactivate it?
Exactly the same. Green energy.
Your sacrifice for this cause is tremendous, and has most likely bought so many their freedom already.
Niklaus, or what appears to be Niklaus, nods to you in thanks.
Quill has like actual tears in his eyes. And, it's humbling to see someone give the service that you're giving, and through what must be the terrible torment you're experiencing, I hope that you're able to keep in mind the unimaginable impact that this has for so many.
He nods and unfortunately cannot reply.
I'll move to the next cell.
Okay. Before you move to the final cell then, the dancers. As you dance around, the prince brings you in close, Oriana. I have dire news, Oriana.
Muted, Charlie.
Sorry.
Okay.
And over the tempo of the music, my brother returns the day after the final bout. As a welcome and a birthday gift, the Inquisition are petitioning the council to allow for the execution of the prisoners below.
All of them?
And I met your mother especially. I am currently very softly asking questions on how the cells are deactivated, but as such, only the Inquisition currently know the secret.
Who in the Inquisition knows? Would a guard know?
The guards do not enter. It is the higher ranking knights of the Inquisition, mainly.
Can I hear this at all? I assume not.
Roll me a perception check. It's not a difficult DC, but roll me a perception check, because you are all dancing quite close in your own.
16?
Yeah. You, and I'd say Ace as well, could probably just make this out.
I'm going to very quietly mutter as we dance past and go, pretty sure I could break it.
Maybe. When is the final bout?
The semi-finals are tomorrow. The final the day after.
There's no break in between?
No.
Not even a day's break where we don't fight.
We haven't had a day's break so far.
No, but we would need... Maybe this isn't something to discuss within your hearing, Your Highness. I'm going to dance off again.
I will endeavor to gain this knowledge for you, but it is going to be difficult. Perhaps...
Please don't do anything that's put you in danger.
I have never felt more alive than since I have met you and your friends. It's the knowledge I've gained about the way the world really works. I cannot sit idly by and do nothing.
And I know you won't, but I don't want you taking an unnecessary risk.
I'm already taking unnecessary risks on many different avenues. In the last few days, I have petitioned schools for the human district of Paras to begin opening. I have petitioned, though perhaps this will take longer, a minimum wage, which would be a fine start, because currently there isn't even a wage.
Your Highness.
I am having some pushback from the council, as you can imagine.
Your Highness.
Oui.
Could you get leave to visit the compound should we win our next bout? I know you don't have to ask for permission, but I mean an official visit for something.
If you win your next bout, there is an evening of freedom where the party will go through the boutiques of Paras, and you will be able to buy, or the crown will buy for you, the finest magical items and armor, so that the final bout will truly be a thing of wonder and splendor. So, I will come and collect you from the compound if you wish.
That'd be nice.
I'm going to ask for something that you may not be able to do. Could you get your hands on 2 guard uniforms? Or 3. No offenses. You're not stealthy.
I am the Prince of Paras. You are
Sure, but that doesn't mean...
I am almost certain I could arrive at your compound with some guards with an extra change of clothes in their backpacks.
The fewer know the better, but it could...
I have some guards that I will trust with my life. That I would trust even if I went against everything my family stand for.
Then I have an idea, but it might not be an idea you want to know anything more about.
Then perhaps you either tell me when we are not surrounded by the court, or you do not tell me at all.
Oh, look at the pretty butterflies.
Yes. So, schools.
Oui.
That's a wonderful idea.
And he begins to teach you about, or talk to you about his ideas for educating the young and having them in much higher positions than just like kind of farmer, stable boy. And the more he speaks about it, the more you can see that even over the last couple of days, he's become like a fire has been lit under him. And the passion begins to flow out of him, and he just starts talking about like the possibilities being endless for a people that up until now have been subjugated and put down so much. While that is happening, Quill.
Yes.
You get to the final cell. This one is built into a wall. It has only got one entrance. It is not straight through like the other one. There are no bars again. Not even on the sides. This one is surrounded by what appears to be iron. But each rivet in the iron plates that have been bolted to the wall appears to be made of crystal. The same green crystal that the spire is made out of, that you've seen these, you've seen all of the elves use in their magics. You can feel the necrotic energy pulsing off this cell. Inside, chained with iron chains, again, each link, every other link seems to be made of crystal and seems to be drawing. You can visibly see the energy flowing up the chains from his arms and legs. Is a human man. Short, brown-red hair, greying at the temples, a beard, the wrinkles on his face and his skin. He looks strong, but has an almost ageless quality about him. He could be anywhere from 30 to 70. You can't really place his age. But scars line his torso, his arms, his shoulders. Each one of them healed, but there are a great deal. And as he looks at you, listening to your footfalls, as soon as you got into these catacombs, I expected someone smaller, perhaps more hidden by cloth, scales on their face. You are a new one. But I sense...
Do you know my friends?
I do. I sense there might be something about you that makes you a main character in this story that they've started to tell. Do you like books?
I do.
I can tell that
Your
about
name?
you. My name is Marcus. Yours?
You can call me Quill, Marcus.
He grunts and groans in pain as the chains, and you see the energy pulse in them, and they start to draw even more heavily out of the chains, and the green field in front of you flares up and becomes almost white before it becomes see-through again.
They're using him to power the force field. The barriers, I assume. Is Quill able to assume that?
You can assume it. He's there, you could ask him.
They're using you to power this monstrosity.
Mine, yes. A particularly vile but clever torture from the young man who put me here.
Do I know of Marcus? I presume I do from
the amount of evenings you've spent
Oriental.
together just talking about each other's lives, I'm going to assume Marcus has been mentioned, right? In at least passing.
We've told Quill the entire story at this point of where we came from, where we went, everything.
My friends owe a very great debt to you, I believe.
Well, that's a bit 50-50.
Your friends owe me nothing. Any debt they owed to me, they have repaid with the countless lives they have saved by their actions. It is I who owe them.
What would you have of me, Marcus?
You've given me everything I could possibly require of you, Quill. You've let me know that those special 4 now with you, that I saw leave Nidum those many months ago, feels like forever, but those many months ago are doing well, and they are still striving to right the wrongs that they have discovered in the world. which is all I ever hoped for from anyone who left Nidum, writing their own story and doing good along the way. I would ask, though, Quill, that you warn them. While many have left Nidum to write their own stories and have done well, saved many lives, protected the weak from the evil strong, it is, or it would appear that your friends, well, they're not just writing a story, they are in the story, one to end them all. I ask that they be careful, and that they do not do something as foolhardy and idiotic as attempt to free me or the Matron Mother.
It seems like I'm busy telling everybody this today. If you knew my friends as I do, you'd know that making that request of them is as pointless as asking the tide not to rise. They're going to attempt whatever they can. How do we do it, Marcus? How do we get you all out of here? Tell me.
I do not power the fields on the other cells. That was a personal punishment. The more I struggle, the more joy I feel, the less, or the weaker I become, the stronger my bonds. However, to break this spell, to allow me my freedom and thereby allow the others theirs, you have to do but one very simple thing. You have to kill the caster of the spell.
Tell me who cast it.
The Grand Inquisitor.
Might take a bit longer.
It's a tall order.
Which is why I implore you, once you have won your freedom, leave Paras. Go on with the story, and remember us fondly as characters in the grand play.
I don't know whether it's characteristic of the environment you created in Nidum, or just a special characteristic of my my friends, but they don't give up easily, and they don't fail often. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tell them exactly what you said. That we can't do it. That we shouldn't try. But I don't believe they're going to quietly accept that. And I think you probably know that.
Unfortunately, it was one of the tenets in the foundation of Nidum that we should promote free thinking and stubbornness.
All your chickens are coming home to roost now.
I think we may have done too well.
I know some people like that.
I know a lot of people like that.
Kind of raise people to think for themselves, and suddenly you try and tell them that it's bedtime at 11 and they don't listen to you and they stab you with a push pop, that sort of thing.
Sounds very familiar, yes.
Have you ever heard a phrase, Marcus? A phrase I heard growing up from my exasperated parents. that you raise the children you deserve?
I believe I may have, yes.
Reflects very well on you.
Not that I want to cut this conversation short. However, I have learned the ins and outs of this place, and if I'm not mistaken, I can hear footsteps approaching.
You're more observant than I. A pleasure to meet you. I have a party waiting for me.
Bye-bye for now.
Goodbye.
Roll me a stealth check.
Well, excuse me just one second, I'm just frantically searching for something. That is that's a 13.
A 13?
13.
Not a 30?
Nope, just
Okay.
a 1 and then a 3 after it.
Okay. As you move away then and try and duck into shadow, you too hear, or begin to hear the footsteps hurriedly approaching.
13. Is what that was.
We'll put it this way. At least one of them rolled a natural one, right?
I wonder what that feels like.
You just managed to duck into shadow before two Inquisitors rush in and look around, having heard what they thought was conversation, but now seeing nothing amiss. They start to creep around, and you just manage to dart out to the corridor behind them. Are you going straight back to the party?
It wouldn't be that easy. Based on the conversations I've had this evening, do I think that these Inquisitors have the ability to open the cell, or do I think the cells, or do I think that's probably reserved for the higher ranks than them?
You would think they're probably reserved from the higher ranks. These guys are just grunts.
I'll leave.
Cool. Okay. Roll me another stealth check.
Okay. 23.
Cool. You manage to make your way out again then with very little. You come across very little roaming patrols. The door has been left open, perhaps to allow the Inquisitors to leave more easily, as the lock is on the outside. You quietly exit, seeing the backs of the two palace guards to you at the top of the stairs. But, being a tabaxi, it is not difficult at all for you to climb 15 feet up a wall and secrete yourself once more in a hedge. So, in no time at all, you do find yourself rejoining the party, just in time to see the song that your friends have recently been dancing to with the prince finish. The prince kisses your hand, Oriana, and then makes a point of taking your hand, Dice, bowing low and kissing you at the back of your hand.
I give my first genuine curtsy of the evening with actual respect.
He then holds out a hand to Ace, who, the prince guessed correctly, grasps it firmly on the upper arm. The prince returns the gesture. A common gesture amongst warriors, one of respect. The prince then turns to the rest of the party. It is with the end of the song, unfortunately, my friends, that we have to end the evening. It has been a delight. A few of you, of course, those who survive the bout tomorrow, will be invited on the journey around the boutiques to choose whichever items you wish, of course, from the purse of the palace, so that we can put on a grand show for the final. But I bid you all adieu, good night, au revoir, and in the nicest possible way, I am tired, get out of my house. And everyone...
Good night, Your Highness.
Everyone gives him a... Like, most people do the kind of respectful chuckle. There are quite a lot of people who do genuinely like this prince and find him funny, and everyone starts to kind of make their own way out of the palace.
Oui, monsieur.
A guard rushes up to the prince just before you leave and whispers something in his ear. And he comes to you and leans in close to all of you as you congregate again. You have drawn the ice giant. Bonne
And
chance.
we will deal with the ice giant.
That's fine. Might get steamy.
And he leaves. You make your way with the crowd then back out to your carriage. It would appear that your carriage is first instead of last this time. You are guided onto the carriage by the captain of the guard, the prince's personal friend, who, when he's about to close the door, leans in close. The prince is headstrong, and his ideas very often get him in trouble. He has had a great deal more of his ideas since he has met you all. I would hope that the trust he places in you is well-founded and not misplaced.
Monsieur, he is one of the most upstanding people we have had the pleasure of meeting.
He's a friend.
We do not wish to get him in trouble. Unfortunately, sometimes trouble follows us, and we can't avoid that.
Which is why I will hope you trust when I say, not only would I lay down my life for that man, I would also kill any whose actions would cause him harm.
Then do me a favor, if you can.
Oui?
Keep him out of
Increase.
trouble.
Increase his personal guard. The Inquisition has it in for us, and I do not believe it will be long before they turn their sights on him. It would be wise to keep him very protected because they are more powerful than a lot of people realize. Your average guard, they would go through like butter. I promise you that.
You have not brought these suspicions to an unready mind.
I guessed. Correctly, luckily.
I will do as you say. Au revoir.
Night, Captain.
Au revoir.
He closes the door and the carriage begins to move off. And on that note, before you start having the conversation about what has transpired this evening for everyone,
So much to
Yeah.
talk.
I think we're going to leave it there because
Yeah.
it's 11:30. We've already gone half an hour over what we normally would. But, you know, we've been away for a while, so why not?
Fucking hell, bro! What a session.
What a
Yeah.
session!
Well done, bro.
It was fantastic. It was so good. Like the speed with which you came up with things for that for Puck was, and that you managed to make it all fucking rhyme.
That's ridiculous.
You lunatic! And you can't tell me you wrote that in advance because I know you didn't.
I
You're
have been working. You know, every time I walk to the shop, every time I go to Aldi and
Yeah.
walk back, people think I'm mental. Anyone who sees me in the street thinks I'm mental because I'm talking to myself in rhyming couplets.
It's not that; it's the beard, guys.
Yeah, but no, I've been practicing Puck for a while, just trying to get that.
It fucking paid off, mate.
It did. It was brilliant.
Very good.
Everything.
Very, very
It was
good.
And it was so tense. Like, the entire episode was so tense because there were so many things going on that were really important, and everything needed to be kept on top of. And
God.
I want to play again. I want to play more.
Well, hopefully, because we're going to lend M a laptop tomorrow. Hopefully, next week we can play again, and we'll have an M.
Hopefully, yes.
I hope so.
That's that later.
Yeah.
I miss having Ace.
Yes.
Me too. Ace representing themselves would be good.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because
Especially
apparently
for
I can't
combat.
play for Ace.
You can't what?
God. I can't roll for Ace. I can only roll for myself today. But Jesus Christ.
But yeah,
Fantastic.
it's been a good one. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know it's gone over, well over what we normally do. But thank you everyone for sticking around. Thank you everyone. I've seen the chat. I'm going to do that thing now where I go back and I spend like half an hour reading all of the chat I've missed because it's impossible.
No, you should do that. There's nothing interesting in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't bother.
But yes, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for coming back to us. Thank you for waiting. We will obviously attempt to play D&D as much as possible. I'm on 8.5s this week, which means I will finish earlier and have more energy to stream. So I will be streaming being very bad at Tarkov a few evenings this week. I say very bad. Me and Greg have turned into super chads. You should have seen the amount of PMCs we killed last night. Jesus Christ.
It was 4. No, it's 5. It was 5 between the two of us, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in one raid.
Yeah.
The raids
5.
before we killed a couple.
End your stream so we can gossip.
All right, yeah, cool. We're going to go gossip like we normally do. But yes, thank you very much. As always, please take care, stay safe, look after each other. I love this community, I really do.
We love you.
What channel do you stream on?
Dice of the Beholder.
Hang on.
Dice of the Beholder.
I got it, Brian. I got it.
No, if I just type in this one, Uli can just click on my name
The
and then
username, yeah.
go to the thing.
And
Right.
thank you for the big cheer as well earlier.
Yeah, it was really nice
Thank
of
you,
you.
man.
That's
Thank
lovely
you.
of you.
Because you've only been watching us for a little bit, I think. So thank you.
I've known Uli for a very long time.
Really?
Uli knows me as Puppy. Uli's a LARPer. I've known Uli for a while.
That's Puppy.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about that. There's pictures.
Okay.
I'm happy
Chances
to
are
send-
we'll be in the Discord chat
Yes.
throughout the week.
But
Gonna come hang out with us.
if not, if we don't see you again until next Sunday or until the next D&D stream, we love you guys and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Bye.